All right. I guess we'll start you in right away, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, today's show. We're back here again. I want to start with the food for thought. What is an artist? Artist is someone who's a warrior who takes the seed of an idea and takes it somewhere and gives it life. That magic of creating something, giving life to a non-living, is an artist. Why I say that, we have a special guest today who's an artist. And he is a friend and he is also our LILT Podcast veteran. He was our first ever special guest. And he's back on our show again for season 2. Sam Brown, welcome to the show, man.
Of course, happy to be here. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. And congratulations to a very successful season 2.
Thank you.
Honestly. It's been great. Who knows where season 3 is gonna go? Honestly, I've been looking at your show, and it's just on the up and up. Like, you've been having interesting guests.
Yeah. The goal is to kind of promote talent out of Toronto, and I think we're missing that as a city where there's no platform where they just promotes local businesses or even just like any art. You know, it can't be just artists; it's just anything, right?
Yeah, Toronto's one of those like places. I think like everywhere I've been, at least music industry speaking, Toronto's one of those places where people are very much into themselves, what they're doing, how they can move to the next level. So it's very rare to find, I think, people who are just open to working for the sake of working, right? And the sake of just making art, whether it works out or not. And I'm a big proponent of that. I like working with anybody. You make classical music, you do jazz, whatever you do. I just like to be around it.
I think that's a good artist because it kind of motivates you in a different way. Maybe because you're bored of, because as an artist you get bored of things so much quicker. That's my personal opinion. When you see something new, it's a refreshing, right, feeling. It's like you feel like, okay, you want to create again. You want to do something new again, right?
More than just doing something new, I just love being surrounded by just people doing like in their element. You know, when I find someone who's in their element, and a great example of this is one of my close friends, Salu. He just starred in a motion picture. It just premiered at the Berlin Film Festival.
Awesome,
so
man.
Big congrats to him. He starred alongside Jesse Eisenberg.
That's awesome.
Adrian Brody. So he just walked that red carpet. And it's one of those things. He messaged me and he said that when we met in Los Angeles, we just gravitated towards each other. And that's what artists do. You realize that once you start going out and meeting more and more people. If you're real, like real recognizes real, and you just gravitate. So to see him, from when I met him, he had just done a couple episodes for Tyler Perry. He just and this is a shout out to Salu. So like big ups to him. He just did 4 episodes for HBO's TV show Barry. And now to walk the red carpet with Brody is like
that's huge.
To see my peers and to see my friends achieve those sort of things is super proud.
Is he also a musician, or
he loves music? Okay. He doesn't make any music, but he loves music.
And that's probably why you guys connected, and that's how you guys connected.
Yeah. So I actually when I went to Los Angeles, I was staying at his Airbnb. I didn't even know him. Right? I didn't know he was an actor, any of that sort of stuff. So I shared a room in his house with him, and the very first night, we saw just like this small mouse or it's like some small animal inside of his house. So he's like, "You gotta help me chase this shit out," right? So we chased it out. Took us about like 10 minutes of running around it to get it out of his place. And then we sat on his stairwell, and I was just showing him demos of my music. And ever since then, with him, it's been a great connection to have. So like to see him go walk the red carpet, Berlin. He brought his mom out. His mom got to walk the red carpet with him. Like it's just wonderful. So honestly, just like big ups to him. Like you got to show love when you can show love.
For sure,
and yeah, super proud of that.
That's awesome. When you see that, I personally think you get motivated to do more, right?
He is someone who like motivates me through and through. Like I spent maybe 2 weeks with him, and this dude's work ethic, like he's up at 3 a.m. and he sleeps at like midnight, right? He sleeps 3 hours a day. Hits the gym right in the morning. Like I'll wake up around 10, right? When I was in LA, this dude was already finishing an hour on the Peloton. And while he's on the Peloton, he reads, right? He reads all these like movie magazines and scripts and all that, like just to see that work ethic. And that's something that stayed with me. You know, if you want to be the top of the top, you know, sharks are born swimming.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
It's not a hobby or anything like that. It's a lifestyle.
And he showed me, like, I was so young going into this game, right? Just a year ago. I'm still 21, and I've had a lot of early success, and honestly you get a little jaded initially, right? Because you're like, people are ready to work with me. I'm recording with the best equipment. I've had great success on my songs. I've done shows and I've toured around all over North America. So you get a little jaded, and honestly, like, my work ethic was probably not where it needed to be. I got very lucky and very blessed. And then you realize that you want to keep those blessings in your life. And to see this man work at the level he worked, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I got to go and reevaluate myself.
Well, also, success is addicting. So once you smell it, you want more of it. And that makes you work hard. I find that a lot of people that are successful, the reason why they work so hard is because they smelled it once. It's like so good that you keep wanting it, right?
No one likes to fall gracefully from the top. Very little people can do it, like, who have reached the pinnacle of success, who have reached that #1 star status. I mean, you look at it, Whitney Houston, when Mariah Carey came into the scene, completely ruined herself, right? That's when she started having that downward spiral in life. And it's one of those things where no one is able to just gracefully let go. You always say it, age gracefully, fade into the limelight gracefully, all
like
of those
all the
things.
time, right? But not like right away. There's rare cases where it's like,
and like, talking about Toronto artists, like, you wonder like how someone like Drake is gonna respond to that, because he's getting old, right? At a certain point, and he's not the type of dude who likes to pass a torch. You know what I mean? Like, his whole brand is signing people and then getting them to make songs for him.
Songwriting, right?
Exactly. So it's one of those things. I'm excited to see. I feel like music's going in an interesting direction. I think people now, after a long time in music, are getting inspired to take more risks, to be a little more honest again with music. Because for a long time, like the past 5 years, and I'm not saying there hasn't been songs that have broken whatever path or precedent that's been set for them, but for a long time, it's been mainly the same. And you see people are getting bored of it. Has been people want more.
And I find streaming people, this is my observation of like the game itself. It's like people are getting addicted to obviously TikTok music and streams. Those are the two buzzwords I hear every artist say. But is that really feeding them? I feel like that's not really feeding an artist right now, because radio plays are getting overrated, and and that's where the money came. And also, I could be wrong here, but also tours made you money, right?
Merchandise tours,
merch too as well, right? So it's like I find the education that needs to be given down from a artist that's successful in the city. That communication is very lacking in Toronto. Like that's not. If you go to New York or if you go to LA, those artists really look out for each other. I find that like
another guy in New York, Henny Mac, put me on from the jump. Like, that's the thing. When I go out of Toronto, just walking around, just performing, I'll do a show and have so many people come up to me, right? Say, oh, we're hosting a show here. Come to New Blue, perform there, right? Oh, I'm hosting a cypher. We'd love to see you out there. Come to my cypher,
awesome,
right? Participate in it. Over here, you don't have that. You don't have things like community hosted cyphers that are happening down at Queen's Park,
for sure.
Right?
No.
In New York, it's every week.
In
New York, it's every week. Yeah, and I was there and I was talking to Henny Mac. I was like, yo, they don't really do this in my part of town, right? And he's like, why don't you go do it? But it's one of those things where it just like, that's not the mindset of people. Who's gonna show up to the cypher in Queen's Park? Like me. And then, like, I'll be alone there with a boombox. You know what I mean? I might as well go busk.
Yeah. That's tough, because I mean, I actually see that in Toronto. We need that. We need that, like, something where like people are performing a lot, and there are some things I'm seeing some change actually. Not to be fair, like I've seen some places, and I will tag them for artists that are listening in, right? I'll tag those places, but I've been seeing a lot of my friends who have been performing at these like events where a lot of artists show up and they hear other people's music, and I've been to one show where it's all artists, and there's like maybe like 5 to 6 singers that are just like performing their new songs, new singles, testing it out, see how the crowd is reacting, right?
100%.
Before they release it, and it was pretty cool to see. When I saw that, I was like, man, we need more of this.
Of course.
Guess where this whole thing was hosted? It was hosted at like a store, like a cannabis store.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Like it's off hours, like
after hours.
And it's like that's where they're hosting it, and it was so cool to see that, right?
Music's become just very passive, right? People like through streaming, right? It's just streaming has made music such a passive experience where it's one of those things where you'll just say, "Hey Siri, shuffle my playlist," and it'll just shuffle your songs for you. It's gone from the days where you know, you have to go look through your collection, pull out a record, pull out a CD, and put it in. That's a different way of experiencing music. You know, to go get a gramophone and then to buy like 78 records and listen to it off.
And I think it was a different vibe too when you go to your friend and be like, hey, let me put you on this guy. Discovered. That was a different kind
when
of
he pulls up in your car and you pull out your mixtape CD and you throw it in there. You know what I mean?
You on something. Like that was a different vibe, right?
Yeah, music's now it's like like TikTok songs, and you know there's a place for it, of course, but I just feel like music's not in a very optimistic place. You know, I just feel like there's not many real problems in the world, right? There's no wars really going on, right? There's no real conflict, especially like for us here in Toronto. There's no conflict, and you see that reflected in the music. When times are hard, music's very optimistic, and then when times are not hard, music is not optimistic.
I guess with COVID, a lot of people did make a lot of music during that time because it was bad times. Yeah. Right? So you're right about that.
And you see the happiest sounds come from when people are suffering the most.
Yeah.
Because that's what people need to hear. Music is very
very true actually. Yeah. What's new with you? I wanna know like so there was you went to New York recently that I kind of remember you talking about.
Yeah, we were there pretty much at the same time for a little bit. We just didn't get to see each other.
I wish I did. I mean, I love the vibe there. It was nice to just walk around the city. You feel something. You feel like
New York's alive.
Yeah, it's like alive.
It's wonderful. And you know, when you come back to Toronto, you feel that you're like, okay, there are big buildings here. It's
a simulation of New York,
dude.
But in a different way.
Over here, I don't really like living in Toronto anymore, if I'm being quite frank. And I love this city. The city's done the most for me. I met Trevor James Anderson, who is my guy when it comes to recording me. The man understands me completely. But in terms of just like living here, I see so many people like kind of like zombies nowadays. You know, they're just kind of walking. And one of the things that really motivates me is to not be that. Like freedom is very important to me. You know what I mean? And like, what does freedom mean? It means to be able to do whatever you want, like to live a true human experience. The human experience now, I feel like, has kind of been diluted to, you know, you wake up, you go to work. And in Toronto, there's no city where it rings more true that either people wake up, go to school, and then they like drink a little bit and go to sleep, or they wake up, they go to work, and they come home, drink a little bit, and go to sleep. Most clubs are closed on Tuesdays to Thursdays, right?
Oh yeah,
there's not many outings. Like if you ever on a Tuesday night, you're like, fuck it, I want to go out. Yeah, like I want to go. What are you gonna do?
Places.
No,
it's funny because I actually went out yesterday to get dinner with a friend, and we were supposed to go to Good Sun, which is a really good one of our favorite restaurants that we go to always. And we got there, it was closed. It was a Tuesday night, and I'm like, why is it closed at 7 p.m.?
It's a simulation. Like people, it's a simulation, man. People are living like life doesn't matter. Like there's not a time limit on here, and you know that's one of those things where I think once you start feeling success, like once you know you do your first show or whatever passion you have in life, once you figure that out, you're lucky enough to figure that out at a young age. You owe it to yourself to go kill it. You know what I mean? Whatever age, like you found your passion just recently, right? What a shame it would be if you didn't go follow it,
dude. And that's what I think it's, you know what I think about when I think about that. I'm like the reason why I'm chasing these, like I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing like a little short film kind of thing too, writing that right now too, and I'm doing a lot of music now, right? The reason why I'm doing that while I'm having a 9 to 5 corporate job is because I felt that simulation. I don't know how
the fuck you balance it.
Dude,
to be quite frank,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I get less sleep, but I'm doing it because I want to sustain that, right? It won't, almost like I'm getting that money, I'm investing into myself. The reason being, I thought about this. If I'm old as fuck and I'm on my deathbed and I'm thinking, I wish I did this, that's not a life I want to have. It's a shame. And that's what keeps me taking these risks. Even like, bro, I'm like late, like I'm like almost 30, right? And I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck. That's a perception.
And especially, you know, like at your age, like once you started that corporate career, like you've been, like I've known you for a long time. Like I don't know if the people watching know this, but like I've known you for a long time, since I was a little kid, you know what I mean? And I know exactly like your path, like for a long time you were set in a very like, in a very corporate path, right? That's exactly what you wanted to do. You had those goals. You went to school. You did your CPA stuff, all of that, and then you worked this corporate job. And then you know when you find that passion late in life, it's hard. It's hard to really bet on yourself. You know, I was lucky enough where I was like 13 years old, and that's all I wanted to do.
I think that was a blessing for you in a way that's clear. It was clear for you. So from my side, can I be honest? I think it was always there. And I just left it because I did make, I made a whole ass album when I was 16 years old. and I did put it on mixtape.com and all that shit. Back in the day, SoundCloud,
I remember LimeWire and all that shit. Yeah.
Right, back in the day. Boywanda.net. I don't know, it's like a boy, you know Boy Wanda, right?
Of course.
So his site promoted it and like they did a whole page on me. So as a 16-year-old, that's a lot. And I had a one radio play. It was like a Fiji radio that fucking played my record, which still is a radio play.
Shout out Fiji.
Right? So, I mean, I did cool shit like this. Wasn't like crazy small wins, but it was something that I did. I made a whole ass professional album, went to a studio and made it, right? And it was all original music, which I feel like it was always there, and it was the best time of my life when I did that, right?
What made you want to go like okay, yeah, like part of it, sure, like not even not do it, because I get it, you know, you're growing up, and a lot of people are telling you like this is what you got to do, this is how you have a secure life, this is like you owe it to yourself to make sure that you're like you're following the correct path, you know what I mean, and make sure you're secure and financially stable, all that shit. What made you? Because you started, bro, once you already had that job. And for me, the reason why I've never taken, like, university very seriously, and I do well in it, but I've never taken it seriously. And the reason is because I've always thought if I take that shit seriously, and, you know, I had a conversation with a close buddy of mine, the guy who I live with, and he's like a brother to me. And he's always asking, like, why do you not take anything other than music seriously? And even there's been moments in life where I've not taken music seriously, but I never went back to school. Like, I really want to take university seriously. Because sometimes, as an artist, dude, you just stop kind of believing in yourself every now and then, right? But I've never once been like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go to U of T and I'm really, really, really gonna try hard in my classes. Because I've always thought if I do that, and then, you know, I graduate and then I go to law school, med school, whatever fucking school after that shit, then it's done.
Yeah, there's a lot that's jumping out, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so the reason why I didn't early age, because so in high school, it was like, oh, you're a brown rapper. It was like, that was what was driving me. I want to prove you guys wrong. I want to do this shit. I want to prove you guys wrong. So I made a whole ass album, and everybody liked it. All those guys shut the fuck up, and I was like, oh shit. Okay, I did my thing. I did something. Yeah. Right? But then, what's next?
Yeah, how far am I gonna take this?
And I saw, this is me also, and I'm being very vulnerable when I talk about this. Is like, because I kind of like had this like, I talk to myself a lot, and I've had this like thought to myself, like, why did I not do this earlier? The reason being, I was scared, bro. I was really scared. I was like, do I take this risk? It's a scary, bro. Like,
tell me about it.
No, seriously, I have so much respect for all my friends that made music, and I just like they dedicate their life to that early. Because it's a brave fucking thing to do, right? It is so fucking brave. And I didn't have it in me to do that right away because I reached that. Also, there's other reasons why I kind of left it. It's like, that's one of them because I was not brave enough at that time. Also, because I was good in school and I was doing good. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do this and I'll do it later on. And I started to get anxiety with music. I don't know if you feel that too, but I was pretty young. I was 16-year-old. I did pretty good on the album. I'm like, what's next? But that was eating me inside. Like, am I good enough? That anxiety was killing me, and that took away the fun of music for me. So every time I was making music after that, I was feeling anxious, not excited and happy. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break from it. I'll songwrite. Maybe I'll go help my friends when they produce. I'll just like jam out with them, catch a vibe, help them produce or whatever, right? I'll still do it as a hobby where, okay, whenever I feel that creative buzz come in, I'll go hang out or write a song. I still wrote a lot of songs while I was kind of in there, but I didn't ever release anything. I just did it for myself. But I think once I kind of reached a point where I was like, okay, I'm a manager. I've earned that like corporate ladder. I've earned it. I've done almost everything. I've checked all the goals academically.
Yeah, like if you wanted to, you could just keep climbing.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, what's next? Like, I'm bored as fuck. Like, I'm making decent amount of money to sustain as a single man in Toronto. Like, but what's next? Is this the life I want for myself? And I think COVID obviously helped with that. Like, that realization where it kind of brought me back to my roots, music. I started learning how to play a piano. Right, that was the start of everything for me.
Yeah, that's picking up that keyboard.
Honestly, dude, and I took classes. I went to school, music school, went to a one-on-one sessions with a singer, started training my vocals with it. Because I realized that's all I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to like do that, like learn how to play keyboard, piano, and learn how to sing. That was like my like passion. Why didn't I do that? So when I started doing that while I was working during COVID, I was like, bro, I'll just do it. And then in a matter of a year, dude, that turned into like, I think something just like turned, and I was like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to keep doing this for life. Like, I don't give a shit what I do and how I manage it. I want to keep doing it.
Like whatever comes out.
And so like I started like seeing other artists. Like I would come see you sometimes and help you, like just be in the sessions with you, whatever, help write or whatever, just to get inspiration. Like I want to get back into this. That was my way of like kind of getting back into this, 100%. Taking it serious and investing time into it, right?
Yeah.
And now I think I've found a new journey, like a whole ass new journey. I make Punjabi music now, bro.
Oh yeah,
and it's sick. Like I've never felt so confident as an artist. And I have like when I tell you this, I was like, I actually worked on my skill, bro. Like I actually went to a coach for a whole year. Went to a fucking like a Guruji, like who sings on a fucking harmonium, dude. I learned how to play a harmonium. I learned the whole Indian way of singing, and I'm doing that. Yeah, dude. Like I learned that. Like I'm learning that. I'm learning way more like rags and all that stuff, right? And I'm practicing every fucking single day. I'm going at it. It's been like 7,
you have a harmonium?
Months. Dude, yeah, and I'm going at it, bro. For like, and now I'm writing Punjabi music, and I'm kind of also using my hip hop and urban kind of style on it. And I'm like, bro, this is like all I wanted to do ever.
Yeah, when you find something that's true to you, it's a fucking blessing,
dude. And when I play this shit, you'll be like, okay, I see why you like it.
I need to hear it.
Yeah.
I need to hear it after this.
Yeah, for sure. I'll play you, and it's honestly, I wouldn't want to do anything else. Like that's how I feel about this right now.
That's wonderful. Honestly, there's so much music out there. You know, there's so many different types of music. It's kind of sad. Like the mainstream's been so hell bent on just keeping one style alive.
Yeah. And I think Punjabi music is up next, man. We see a lot of they're doing numbers, and I feel like even Drake rapping Sidhu and like wearing a jersey of Musawala and like all that stuff, and like. I feel like we're going through a Indian hip hop, and even just like Punjabi music in general is going through a shift that's next up, and we have the numbers, man. India is 1 billion plus. 1 billion plus,
bro. It's like it's a crazy amount of people there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And like when Diljit did who's one of my idols, Diljit. He did a song with Tory Lanez. I was like, Tory got favorite. Like Tory got numbers because like. He's gonna get played by 1 billion people.
He also got bodied in that song. Like in terms of just like verse quality, like he got bodied in that song.
But you get what I'm saying though, right? Yeah. It's like Tory. That's a favor for Tory, not the other way around. So that's a shift of thinking in general, 100%, right? 100%. Like
you realize like it's population, it's numbers game, right? At the end of the day, music's a numbers game when you look at it through that lens. And there's no more. There's so many people in Asia, right, who just rock and roll.
And music and obviously like you know how you were telling me that you're doing a different type of music now, or you're just like experimenting. That's how I got to this. Yeah. I was experimenting, and you know what? I was like, I've never heard of Punjabi music, but I listen to so much. Why not? I did it, and I was like, this is it.
For me, it's honestly, I've been trying to turn a new chapter because I feel like I got very comfortable in what I was making, and I got like. There's only so much of that shit I can fucking make. And honestly, I'll be honest, it's not very challenging to make the songs I was making.
Yeah.
At least, like, not for me personally. I know people hear my music and they feel like, oh, like, it's great. And I enjoy it. Like, I'm not disappointed or ashamed of any song I made, even fucking Loving You, which, like, I can't listen to. But, like, I'm still proud of it. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things. I was hanging around, like, a collective in Los Angeles. Collective, like usually it's like a bunch of friends, right? Lived in a house in San Jose together, and you know they were lucky enough to take me in for a while, and for that I'll forever be grateful. But I don't know, things were going on where I got close to these people, and then you know you start trusting people, like let's make some music together. I flew out the videographer from that group to Toronto about a year ago now, and you know I used a lot of resources on a video, right? Like I fucking booked a stable, horses. The Churchill Downs video just dropped, so I got very inspired from that. I was like, let's get some horses, so I got a bunch of studs arranged, bought a motorcycle, we did some shots on the motorcycle, like all that shit. And then you know it was through when the videographer came down here, you start realizing it's when there's a break off in the collective, right? He starts talking a lot of shit about all those members in that collective.
Oh man.
Right? He starts going like, X did this and X acts like this and Y is not motivated and all this shit. Suddenly it's like you guys were like brothers when I came down to see you, right? And there's no love lost for me. I don't know you guys like that. I spent, like, they were lucky enough to take me in for 2 months. God bless. We recorded a couple of songs together. I helped them write. They helped me write. Like, it was very mutual.
Yeah.
Of that. So there's no love lost to me. It's like, you guys are your collective, and I don't know. It's just like, it's one of those things where he came through, talked all this shit, and I'm not gonna mention names just because I'm not that, but like if they're watching this, they know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And thing is, I have a fucking problem with all of them because I've been doing a lot of shows. I'm very young. These guys are a lot older than me, right? 3-4 years older than me into the game, and it sucks that they never got the love I got because I truly think they deserve it. I think they're fantastic artists. I think they have a spot in the industry. I think all of those things, but I think the way they go through music, it's very different than I want to go through music, right? They're very comfortable chilling together, smoking up some weed and then just fucking making some music, and that's a part of it. That's always a part of music. But the fact that this guy came, spent 2 months with me in my apartment, I hosted him, all of that stuff, he won't even fucking pick up my call now, right? Because he went back there, the guys did some show, all of that, you got a little confidence from a show, and then send me a fucking paragraph like I was his girlfriend, bro. So something about how, like, he just did a show and then he doesn't respect how I get my bookings done, and then like all of these things. Dude, switch up, right? Like, that's the thing in this industry.
Like, the video's all done and everything.
Bro, he shot this video, stayed at my place. So the thing is, his fucking girlfriend broke up with him and he's a mess. So I told him, come down me. I'll get you out of that rut, which I was successful in doing. Because the way you get out of a rut is you fucking throw yourself into something, right?
Just do something new places.
Exactly. Come down to Toronto. We'll shoot a video. You know what? I was even like, don't even fucking shoot a video. Just come down here and hang out. But I was making music, and so he got very inspired, and he said, you know what? I want to shoot a video for you. He's shooting this video. All while he's doing this, he's fucking slandering his quote unquote brothers. You know what I mean? He's saying that the main guy who hosted me, he's talking mainly about him. He's saying that he doesn't motivate him. He doesn't do this. That he has his own head up his ass. He's very judgmental. All these things. To me, it's wild because if you're saying that about your brother, what are you saying about me? Yeah. You know what I mean? What are you saying about the next person? I was gonna say that
to you right now.
Right?
I was like, you just went there as a guest. Imagine what they say about you. Right?
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's these dudes like hang out in Discord all day, right? And just fucking circle jerk each other, like saying, oh, like, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. But as soon as one of those dudes comes down to me, hangs out, there's no influence of those guys. It's just shit talking. Yeah. Right?
This feels like a reality show, bro.
Exactly. And then when they go back, he's probably fucking ashamed of what he said about his friends. Yeah. So then, they book a show. And listen, I don't mean to talk shit. Any show is good. And God bless. You know what I mean? I'm happy. I'm proud. Like I said, these guys have a spot in the industry. I truly believe if they get their shit together, right? But you got to be accountable to yourself. But he did a show. And okay, it's going to sound like shit, but fuck it. It's he did it without a stage. Like, there's just like a fucking projector behind him. Did a show. Had like 20 people. It's just like friends and family type shit going on. You know what I mean? And he does that, and then just his head gets inflated. He texts me. I don't have the text anymore, but he texted me this like paragraph of like just talking shit on me, talking shit on the types of shows I do, talking shit on my streams, right? Like, part of the reason I have so many streams is because the university I go to the University of Toronto. They playlisted me on all of their academic playlists, so that's how I got my first big push, right? So
yo, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So
and that's organic. So
exactly. So he's talking shit on that. I had an article written about me, right? Third-party article. I had nothing to do with this article, right? And one of the guys, his name is Long Nights. You can go look at the article. I honestly don't give a shit anymore, but his name is Long Nights, and he wants to go, like, I don't know, like, through this, like, mysterious angle. Like, he wants to be known as a band, or he wants to be known as, like, this mystery. I had nothing to do with the article. He featured on my song Crucify, and whoever wrote this article mentioned him as like a singular entity, right? Mentioned them as like being a male vocalist, and dude, it's an article written by some third party, and he's texting me that I'm damaging his brand. What brand do you have when you have 20 monthly listeners? Yeah, for real.
And you're kind of just coming up right now, so you can build your brand. Like,
But that's the thing. The mindset's completely wrong. What brand? Like, I'm not worried about my brand. I'm worried about music.
I think that's some petty shit. Like, it's just like he's trying to get back and just say some shit.
Dude, if I called him right now, this man, it's been almost a year since he shot this stuff. He has not sent me a message saying, even if he was like, you know what, I don't feel like editing it, but here's all the video I shot for you. Go get it edited by somebody. Yeah. That's respect.
That's more professional.
That's respect. But the fact, dude, I call him. Yeah. No response, no text response. He's posting on Instagram, all of these things. It's just, you got to be a man about these things.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's fucked up.
But that's the industry, and you realize you don't trust people, right? And you got to work with professional people.
I guess almost that's like the struggle of an independent artist at this point, you know. Yeah.
And it's
who do you really trust, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things. There's no love lost. Like I said, I truly believe that these guys have a spot in the industry, and they took me in. Right, and I'll never be ungrateful for that. But in terms of how things are handled, right, and this is part of me wanting to turn a new leaf. Honestly, when you asked me to come on, and I was very down to do it, it's because I wanted to get all of this stuff out, just so I can move on. Because I'm making new music and I'm shooting new videos. All of those things, it's okay. Things happen. Yeah. How many people are gonna fuck you over in this industry? It's whoever you let.
Yeah. That's bars, actually. Yeah, bars, bro.
Like, it's whoever you let. Everyone's in it for themselves, and it's these guys who I spent 3 months with them in San Jose, another 2 months with them in Los Angeles. This guy came down after his girl broke up with him.
She thought there was more of a bond, and it was real more than like just.
Whether that's the case or not, there should be some mutual respect in that. But that's the thing. This is a heartless game.
It is.
It's a heartless game.
It's tough out there.
It's one of those things where it's like, now it's like, especially taking a lot of lessons from them, I don't want to make the same sort of music anymore.
Maybe that was, everything happens for a reason. Maybe that's what it is.
I think that's God. Honestly, I don't want to make the same music anymore because you realize, I'm like, what's the difference between people like them and someone like me?
Man, everything happens for a reason. Maybe this is it. Maybe you'll find your sound, man. This is like
exactly. And that's the thing. I have no love lost for these guys. I wish the best for them. Right?
Yeah.
But in terms of how do you turn a new leaf, it's getting an opportunity to just share a story, right? And that's the thing. Like, I invested so much time, so much resources. I had a crazy 2-week shooting schedule. You should
almost reach out to him and be like, yo, just send me the footage at least. Like, I can get this.
But he won't send me the footage. I guarantee it.
What the fuck?
I guarantee it. He won't send me the footage. I know he has the footage. I know when he had the footage is the best footage he recorded because he said it. Right, dude, we were shooting with like $1 million studs on a horse farm. You know what I mean? We shot at the Fairmount just down here in downtown Toronto. Iconic locations all across Toronto. It was a video I was very passionate about. Right? So to be in that moment and like take that energy out of me, music's energy, art's energy. You had this whole beautiful explanation on art. It's creating something out of nothing.
It is definitely art.
So to have all this energy and then for someone to not even have the courage to call me.
Yeah. I can see why you're like, oh man, come on.
To even call me, to even say like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate
just
that.
Like, just say something. Right? Don't just, that's fucked. Man, it's crazy. Like, I have no words, man. Like, that's gonna, if someone did that to me, I'd be fucking pissed.
But you move through it, man. Yeah. You gotta move through it. And that's why it's one of those things, I don't want to make the same type of music I've been making. Yeah. I don't want to rely on people just to rely on them. You know what I mean?
So what's new for you then? Like, are you making, what kind of sound are you looking at? You said you were experimenting. We were talking about that before.
Yeah. So I've been
let's talk about that.
It's hard. Like, I don't know exactly what I want to do right now in terms of music. You know, it's one of those moments where it's I've kind of taken things on a little bit of a pause in music. And it's one of the things, like, I've not been in like an actual recording studio in a long time. I've been recording a lot of things at home, which is new for me. I've only recorded in a studio before. I've never been one of those people who record himself, right? So I've been recording myself a lot, which is an interesting take on music because it's very vulnerable. You're alone.
I think you could do more when you're alone too. Like, you can let go. You can also experiment more. I feel like.
I know, but I just feel so handicapped. But it's one of those things. Like
I see. Yeah.
Like I'm so used to like telling Trev, I'm like, you know, like
just turn, yeah.
Like me, he fucks with me all the time, and he tells me, he's like, you know, you tell me like a bunch of gibberish, and I have to kind of put that into technical terms in my head because I'll be like, you know, like I kind of want to sound like this, and then like let's do something like this, and then he's the dude who puts it all together.
He has a studio downtown, you say?
He records at a lot of studios down here.
He's just an engineer.
Yeah. I met him at Noble Street Studios.
Okay.
downtown Toronto, which is one of the best studios.
Point blank. I'm looking to record a lot of studios. So if you know any good ones,
Noble Street is like if you want like the studio experience, like that's where like The Weeknd records. Awesome. Shawn Mendes did his album there. Drake records there. Like if you want the studio in Toronto, go check out Noble Street and like I'll give you.
So and do you get? Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Do you get this guy to come with you, or is it more like he works there?
No, I get him to come with me. It's he did work there. I think now he's doing a lot of like work through himself. He's
so you pay him extra. You pay him separately, and then you pay the studio.
Yeah. So there's a studio fee, and then there's an engineer fee. It's separate. Fair enough. It's one of those things. But he's one of those dudes who like I recorded my first song with the guy. You know what I mean?
There's a meaning behind it.
He
gets you.
Yeah. There's no one else I could see recording me other than Trevor. Like when I was in LA, I recorded with another engineer. But it was one of those things where when you make a connection with somebody musically and someone gets you artistically, it's untouchable.
You almost feel like a handicap after that. I can see why.
Especially someone like that, like who is like
on them, right?
Who knows his stuff. Yeah, he's definitely like very like he's a pleasure to work with, and awesome. He's a great writer. He's very very artistic. Like he plays the guitar. Like he has so much fun when he records, and that's something that I've learned from him. You know, like I talk about people I've learned from. It's he has fun when he does this shit. So
I think that's the key to everything, man. Like you're gonna have bad days at the studio, and those are the worst. You come home and like fuck everything, right? Mm-hmm. And like you have like really good days where you feel like you're on cloud 9, right? Like you're just fucking running around. Like fuck, I just made this. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like I'm 100%. The best ever, right? And then there's days like, should I be doing this? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's days like that. So I think you just gotta have fun with it. Cause like
imposter syndrome, dude, that is like, I think that is like the crux of an artist.
Just to bring it all together for you, this is why I keep other things. I diversify my shit. Yeah. So like when I'm having a bad fucking music day, I go record a podcast.
Exactly.
Mine is off the fucking music shit. I'm creating something else, right?
Yeah.
And then if that's not working out, or I'm not doing podcasts, I'm writing a short film or a rom-com that I'm working on right now. So I just do different shit now. So that way it's like if one's not working out, I'm not so fucking down bad about it, right?
Yeah.
And that I learned over the years of creating.
I think I'm just like one of those things. I've stopped relying solely on music to generate my income. I think like 2 years ago it was just music that I relied on my income generation. I was doing well for myself, but it's one of those things when you start involving music and like income together, then you start losing love for it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Man, that's it.
And it's also, you realize once you get in, like outwardly, like people are watching, it's like, oh, musicians make a lot of money, and they're always like, you know, they're flexing Lambos and the chains and all this shit. But you realize all these guys, like Kanye is a billionaire not because of music. He still hasn't paid off he still hasn't paid off his loan for Yeezus, and that went double platinum. So imagine if Kanye West.
Oh, music doesn't make you money if you're an artist.
Exactly.
So this is the coolest thing.
You go outward to make money.
Yeah. So this is the coolest part. I'm glad you said that because I read somewhere. It's like, I think Jay-Z said this, right? It's like, being an artist, you are a brand himself, right? Mm-hmm. The reason why you become an artist, eventually you become a brand and you can sell shit. You are selling merch, your products. That's when you're a businessman, and that's when you make money. Mm-hmm. It's not when you actually making music that you make money. Yeah, right?
Music's like a way to make connections. It's something I love doing. It's one of the things, like if you're making no money, like this is the true thing of an artist. Whether you're making all the money or no money and you still make music, that's how you know you're an artist.
Yeah,
you know
man.
What I mean?
Seriously.
And there's so many people, like you listen to Little Baby talk about music, and that dude, like, and like God bless him, and he's had an amazing career, right? Like legendary, a Hall of Fame career. But you listen to him talk, this dude's not in it for the music. He's in it for the money. He mentions, any sentence he mentions music, he mentions money. He mentions music's a business and music's that. And that's a part of it. But that's why you have labels. You let them handle that shit. As an artist, you just gotta focus on a vision. You gotta focus on a message, and you gotta be true to yourself. And that's what a label used to be. It used to be that, you know, I'm gonna give you an album, and you're gonna critique the shit out of it. And artists used to fight for their vision, and artists used to fight for their message. And now it's reached a point where, you know, artists are just thinking about what's the bottom line.
Yeah, it's like more of a brand game than actual music, which is why we don't have a fucking classic of an album recently.
When's the last what's the last classic album? Yeah,
where I just replayed it fucking back to back.
Think about like our largest superstar right now is Drake, and like Certified Lover Boy was good, but then what were the other two? I can't even remember. There was that dance. There was like that dance EDM.
So the EDM one, I give him props for even experimenting though. I think it's good for, because as an artist, imagine being Drake, right? You've done everything, right? Mm-hmm. You're bored of this shit. Like, you're bored. Like, you know how you're already bored of yourself?
Yeah!
You're bored as fuck. You're
and
like,
he's been doing the same sound for a long time,
right?
Yeah.
He's probably bored as fuck, right? He's like, what do I do that will, like, maybe like, almost change the whole industry in a way? Because I see a lot of people doing that music now, right? Because, like, I give him props for that, but at the same time, I get what you're saying.
You can give him props for it, and, like, it's like, you know what, like, good job, like you've experimented in it, but
about time.
but when you're Drake, when you were the number one artist, it's like I just feel like the bar's been set so low for what our number one artist is. You ask your mom and dad, like, who's the number one artist of your generation? Heavy hitters, like dudes who have redefined genres. And sure, like Drake did that whole like melodic R&B sound, but that was like 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know what I mean? He's just reached this age where it's like, you could have called in all the people to make like proper EDM house music. There's professionals, right? There's people who their whole life is dedicated to that sound. It just felt like such a watered down sound. And then, like, guess what? He doesn't care because he's like, I could fucking.
I still sell out. Yeah.
I sell out. Yeah.
I still do numbers, so it's
that's
still
the thing.
Success,
it's one of those things, and then it's like, where we gotten as like a group of people who listen to music where it's like, yeah, it's Drake though. Yeah. Like, we're making excuses for the artists. How many, like, you hear that, like,
so funny.
You hear that, like, bland shit, and then you go in, like, the Instagram comments, right? And it's like, some people going, like, okay, this is, like, mid.
Yeah.
But then it's like, the other people, like, they're just making, they're like, at least you tried.
Yeah.
Like, why are you making an excuse for him? You're not getting anything from him.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I find that he's reached that peak now that he's a businessman now at this point. He's not even an artist at this point. He's almost at Jay-Z level, in my opinion. Like, in that, he could be the next. He's the next Hove of our generation, where he's a businessman. He should just like he owns like a lot of brands as well, right? So
you got that Nocta collaboration with Nike.
A lot happening there too, right?
Dude, remember the marketing for that around the city? Just like any billboard you looked at, it was
his
Nocta.
House? The fucking mansion that he created.
Yeah.
It's like he lives like he's the prince of our city. You know what I mean?
Dude, he created there's a bus stop right in front of his house, and that's not by accident. You know what I mean? He bought the house because there's a TTC stop right in front of it. Yeah. It's insane.
Crazy.
Listen, like, you never hate on a man's success, right?
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, he's done a lot for the city. He's done a lot for music in general.
He did put us on map for sure.
Oh,
right?
100%. What was Toronto before Drizzy Drake? You know what I mean? But it's one of those things. It's like, I think maybe part of the reason I'm so critical on Drake is because you want to see the best from that dude.
You expect more.
You want to see like top of the line music coming out of him, and you want to see him continue to experiment. And it's one of those things, like, he's getting old, right?
That's how I felt by J. Cole. Because growing up, that's the reason why I got into music. Mm-hmm. It was J. Cole. I would listen to his album and I would like perform it in my bedroom. Like, I would like sing shit,
in the shower. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Or like, so like that's the reason why I got into it. So when he kind of like just drifted away from music, and he hasn't really put out like an album that's like.
But at least Cole stayed true to himself.
Yeah, he did. He did stay true to himself, but he left, and I was like, come on, man, we need more, right? There's so much more he could have done. I feel like he was like, in my opinion, he was like at one point he was bigger than Drake and Kendrick. Oh, and then he kind of like he just gave up on it, and like he was like, I'm gonna do something else, right? He's playing ball now.
But he chose peace.
Yeah, he did. So I mean, I'm not hating on him for that, and I love him so much that I wanted more, right? Yeah.
Of course, but at least like even when he does drop like the odd like single here and there, it's still true to him. Like you can hear that shit, and you're like, you know what? Like this man is
passion, right?
This man is doing it to do it. Like he's not doing it for any other reason other than he loves it.
I mean, he's a producer too, so you just make beats too. Just make beats for like fucking Drake. That's your boy, right? Yeah. Why is that not done yet? Like, where's that Kendrick album and you and them together? Like, what the fuck?
What do you think about Kendrick's latest album?
Dude, I think you gotta with Kendrick. There's just so much depth to each thing that you have to sit with it for a while. That's what I feel. I think you can't listen to it once or twice.
I listened to it like 5 times.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's one of those things. I wish it was almost spoken poetry, rather than music. I think there was like it was very artistic. It was very vulnerable, very real. But in terms of like we waited 5 years for this album. All right, like and there's
you're right.
There's no one who waited more than my roommate for this album. And when we listened to this album, he was in disbelief. He's like, no way, right? Because, dude, every song had a COVID-19 reference on it. It's like, we waited 5 years for this album. Why did you record every song 2 weeks ago? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every song had a COVID-19 reference on it. It's all recorded last minute. But there's a lot of moving parts to it. You know, you're switching labels. Right, there's so many things happening with it.
But I like the combo, like, where it's Baby Keem and him. That's a cousin, like, this family. It's like a family tie.
Yeah.
I like those, like, I guess when they were just flowing, that just sounded cool as fuck.
Did you see the Baby Keem leaks from Melodic Blue?
Yeah. Remember
That's insane.
Remember he was like, dude, we were just freestyling, and, like, this is what we came up with. And I was like, what? Yeah. Like, family ties and, like, all that shit that they did together, they were just, like, flowing with each other. Yeah, that was fucking sick, man. But yeah, like what is next? Who's like the biggest artist after Drake? It's
Drake. That's the thing. It's just Drake.
I don't see it, bro. Like, I don't see.
Like, Kendrick's not the largest artist in the world, not by a long shot.
I think he's done his thing. He's like a legendary.
I think after Kendrick won that Pulitzer, I think everyone in his circle just started like bowing down to him. It's like, you're Kendrick Lamar. You've won a Pulitzer, and it's one of those things when you have a circle that can't tell you like what it is and how it is and to better yourself. It's one of the things that really affects you as an artist. You know what I mean? But when you get to that level, it's impossible to have just that honesty from people.
I think that's the biggest the curse of being successful.
Yeah,
right?
because no one wants to tell you your shit. Also, like, how can you tell Kendrick Lamar
he's
recorded something
in his own world?
Yeah, like, how could you tell Drake that, like, oh, this song doesn't hit? It's like that scene from the Boondocks where it's like, oh, tell me about this song. The guy's like, oh, I think we could change the bass. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't tell, because, dude, what's gonna happen? Drake's not gonna become any less successful.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar is not gonna not go platinum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People still waiting for their albums all the time, right? They reach that status thing, that they reach that like point where it's like
you just gotta let it be.
Yeah.
Like, whatever they give you, you just gotta be like, okay. Let's
We're at their mercy at this point, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy to see as an artist. Like, if you reach that point,
it's such a transition of hunger, and then it's satisfaction, and then it's like, oh, I'm giving this to you.
I'm a god.
Yeah. Dude, Kendrick Lamar on that new album, Mr. Morales and the Big Steppers, he's wearing a crown of thorns.
Yeah.
Like, if that doesn't show you someone's mindset.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. That's crazy. I mean, that is the journey that you kind of go as an artist. I mean, and I think there's no success with when we kind of correlate success with artists. I think there's no set like journey to it. Like, there's no set correlation, because some artists that are just like living poorly, maybe like not really giving a fuck, but they're doing the best work. And they're not getting recognized, but they don't give a fuck.
Dude, so many dudes I know who have like 200 followers who don't even like fucking really release their music. Oh, dude, I hear the craziest sounds from those guys. I hear the craziest sounds from those guys. I know this, like, off the top of my head, like, guy named Keandros. He doesn't even release his music, but he makes the craziest visuals. It's all like glitch techie shit. Fuck. And he makes the craziest visuals. He makes the craziest soundscape. Like, his soundscape is just insane. But he's just doing it to fucking do it. Like, this guy has, like, when I say 200 followers, he's fucking tatted head to toe. Bro, like, that's a commitment I can't even make, you know. And I love tattoos, you know, but I just can't go there, right? So you see people who just are, like, they are artists, right? And they are creative.
They live it, you know, like,
And it's one of those things, like, I've been raised in this place, like, I've had very, you know, like traditional roots, you know what I mean? In the sense of I'm an artist. Like, my family going back, especially on my father's side, they're all artists, right? But they're all very traditional artists in the sense of, you know, these are the type of guys who practice 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, and their craft is their craft, right? They really treat it as something that's important. It's like the crux of their life.
Yeah.
So then you come into modern day artists who just, like, it's the crux of their life as well. And they practice 6 hours a day, but it's not in that traditional sense. They're not sitting down, like, for example, like you, when you were learning from your Ustad in front of a harmonium, right? They're not sitting down like that and practicing. Because those dudes, like, will practice sunrise to sundown, but they're living it. Every decision they make is to forward their journey in art.
And if I tell you how fucking talented my Ustad is, and he's a 70-year-old guy who can sing his ass off. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's crazy. And he probably has made so many greatest artists in the Punjabi industry itself. Like, people that have learned from him are, like, legendary, like, in that industry. And they learn from him.
Dude,
and I'm like, what the fuck? Why didn't you do it? Like, you know what I mean? I always think about that, because he knows ins and outs. It's like, you play him any sound, he's like, oh, this is the notation here.
The person who can't reach the goal is often the leader. Like they can lead you to the well, right? Someone who can't drink water themselves can lead you to water.
That's crazy,
right? It's one of those things. You see, the best teachers are people who are very passionate. Yeah, but it's about accepting it.
Yeah,
right? It's about not thinking in your head, oh fuck, I can do that. Like I've taught these people. You know what I mean?
I think for him it was like I'm teaching these people, and it's almost like he's giving knowledge away, and that's how he's living his life. He's the true artist, in my opinion, right?
Yeah,
that's true artist, and that's true success, and I think that needs to be recognized too, because a lot of people just see numbers and they like how many streams you got, or how much money did you make, or how many people listen to you.
Which money is a mindset, bro. There is money everywhere. It is not fucking hard to make money. Like if you really think about it, like it is not hard. Money is everywhere. However you want to make money, it's there. It's a matter of sacrifice. Yeah. Right? It's one of those things, like people are soft, like people expect to just be given things in life a lot. Like I talk to a lot of people, especially like in school, and you talk to them and it's like they're almost upset they're not making money, but it's a fucking mindset, bro. You got to sacrifice things. You got to go for it. You got to figure out how to make money. What are the things to make money? You got to be able to talk to people, right? Money's everywhere.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic. I love to like dive into that one, because it's like, when you said that, right, I'm like, fuck, like, I think that a lot, because, like...
And you work in finance. You know money's everywhere.
Dude, it's everywhere, and it's like, even if you earn money, dude, it's like, what's next?
Money is only a part of it, you know?
Dude, honestly, dude, it's a huge part of it. Don't get me wrong. Like, without money, like, for example, like, I wouldn't be able to invest into my creative side if I didn't have the money.
Of course not.
Right? So
money's a crux of life.
Very important piece of it, right? But... I find that people that do it for money only eventually find themselves lonely. Apparently.
Dude, it's a means to an end. But in terms of like, how do you make money? Like, it's there. Yeah. It's there. You just got to get your head out of your fucking ass and like not expect people to give you things.
Yeah, man.
It's there.
And rejection. And the biggest fucking thing is learn to take a rejection.
Learn
to take
dignity.
A fucking no.
With dignity.
And I think I've learned to take that so much to the point I'm like, if someone fucking says no to me, I'm like, cool. I don't think that's hard. I'm like, cool, man. Like, eventually, maybe if you hear my shit in 5 years, and you'd be like, fuck, I said no to this guy. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking about, oh, you said no to me, man. This is...
You know, this going back to, like, I realized, like, there is money in music. I do music because I fucking love it. I couldn't live without this shit. You know what I mean? You start looking outwardly. You can make money in the food and beverage industry. You can make money selling your t-shirts. You can make money selling art, like your paintings. You can make money selling your discs. Out. But you gotta have something physical. We live in a very digital environment. And everyone's so addicted to, you know, like the culture is now you make money on your laptop. You know what I mean? There's legitimate business streams there. That's the thing. You got to diversify yourself and your skills.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where there's you know, going back to the topic of freedom. And that's what I really aspire to have in life, more than like I want to be a famous artist or more than I want to be all these things. It's freedom. How do you have freedom? There's two ways. In this Western world, if you want freedom, you have to make that money.
Tons of money.
You have to make tons of money. Not $100,000 a year. That's like
$100,000 is the new $50K, man. Like,
dude, $100,000 a year is a fucking joke.
In Canada, especially.
You
can't afford a house no more.
It's a fucking joke, dude. And it's one of those things. Like, okay, like, dude, any fucking idiot with a computer and some drive can make $100,000 nowadays. You know what I mean? To have true freedom, like, you gotta have a net worth of $20 million. 30 million. And that's freedom. Because listen, you look at the human experience. What are humans meant to do? They're meant to travel. They're meant to experience new things in life. We're explorers. Dude, we're explorers. Think about this. We all started in one place. In the dawn of history, we all started in one place. We're in every single fucking corner. There's communities of people we don't even know exist.
There's so many countries that like
uncontacted tribes.
Like, what's going on right here, right?
Dude,
and they're living on the same planet as we are.
Exactly.
They live the same fucking sun and moon. And
exactly. It's one of those things.
Nuts to fucking think about. Dude, that's crazy.
And we as humans have gone out into space. Like think about there's people everywhere.
So like I think about that shit all the time. I'm like, yo, we're so in the West, especially in like the Western world, we're so caught up in our fucking world.
And this is nothing. Like this is nothing. And this is like this.
It'll blow your fucking mind if you go to somewhere like. I don't even know, man. If you travel somewhere and it'll blow your fucking mind. Just how you live your life and you're happy. Like, oh my god,
dude. So like either A, you make a lot of fucking money. You make $20-30 million. You buy a house. you buy that fucking Porsche, you know what I mean? And then you go travel. Like, if you want to go sail, you go sail. If you want to go fly somewhere, you go fly somewhere. That's living life. Or the second thing is, I'm going to go to fucking Thailand, or like I'm going to go to the Philippines, and I'm going to figure out like some sort of skill and make enough money to just go eat, and I'm going to smoke a cigarette on the beach. And I'm just, that's a different sort of freedom.
Bro.
But that's freedom. There is no freedom for the middle class here.
That's everywhere around the world, though. Middle class is kind of sucks.
It's either you're very rich or you're very poor.
Poor, yeah. And I think freedom is either you're very poor or you're very rich. Both have freedom. The mid is where you're fucking.
And you know, like I see my mom and dad, like they're like middle class people, right? Worked hard their whole lives, sacrificed everything they could for me. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you relate to those things a lot. Sure. But you realize it. They made all those sacrifices, so ideally we could be free.
Yeah, man, that's so cool that you said that, because like that's actually any immigrant family, like. A lot of people don't realize that, like, the reason why they're fighting for that is, like, a check for you to live in a Western world where it's a lot of freedom. Because if you were in India right now, bro, you won't be doing half of this shit right now. You won't be.
No, definitely.
And not in my opinion. Like, you'll be, like, a whole different kid, bro. Right?
Oh, 100%. Like, let's say my parents decide to stay in Darjeeling. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. What would I have done?
Maybe it's something different. Maybe something cool. You never know, right?
No, but that's a different sort of like, life.
Freedom is what they bought you a ticket to freedom, basically, right?
It's like you don't want to waste that. You don't want to waste that opportunity. You know what I mean? Like my father is one of the most kind and introspective men I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's the person who inspired me. He's a fashion designer, artist, all of those things. And
shout out to him, because I love his art. I've seen some of it. He's
littered across my house. It's everywhere, and it's one of those things where it's You realize like that man is so kind, so introspective. He's taught me so many things on life. To this day, he is like the only person who I go to for advice. When I record a song, he's the first person I go to because he'll shit all over it. And you need that.
And I think you need that for sure. Because like you need someone honestly telling you, yo man, like this is great, but this is the part that it's like
he doesn't even tell me this is great. Like I think that man on his deathbed will tell me if I've done something great. But that's a possibility.
That's awesome, bro.
That is a possibility. He's never once told me like he is like very proud of me. Like I know he's proud of me, and I know all of those things. But he's never once come to me and said, "Sam, you've done it."
Can I tell you something crazy? I've heard him talk so much about you when you're not around.
But
that's the craziest part. Because like he'd be like, "My son did this." Because you know when the auntie uncle they get together, they talk about their sons, and they're so proud of their kids, right? They talk about it. Yo, Sam did this. He did a show here. But when you come around, he's like.
Yeah, right? Like, he ain't shit. Yeah.
He ain't shit.
Yeah. No,
which is cool though, right? Like,
but that's what I need.
You need
brother.
that.
That's what I need. It's one of those things, bro. It's and like my mother is the complete opposite spectrum of him. You know, she's studied to get her PhD. She studied medicine. She was on route to become a doctor. Then she became a teacher. Mama. And it's one of those things. It's like my parents truly sacrificed everything for me. Those people live for me. And it's you know, you go through life and you realize like, dude, women. Like come and go, friends come and go, but the only people who have been unconditional
family
is your mom and dad.
Dude, honestly, I think they probably love you the most unconditional way that you can't even imagine. The most unselfish way.
You can, because they'll take you for what you are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things. And then that's why I want freedom. It's because no matter what, at least if they know like I'm happy, I've done something.
It is something right, yeah.
Ideally, like you know, my mom's very traditional in the sense of like she wants me to go to school and like do that whole.
That's every brown.
Yeah, like, right? She wants me to do all those things, but it's one of those things you work hard because you want to make those people comfortable, right?
And part of yourself, right? Exactly. Or part of their kid too, right? Yeah, man, that's crazy. Cause like, well, that's part of my like also motivation too, and I think as you grow up, you realize like, you're very young, and you'll realize. Like maybe when you get to my age, that like you like to be alone all the time. I dude, honestly, I love being alone all the time.
It's the best.
I just do my fucking shit all the time. I hate like that peace that I have when I'm alone is so sick. And then when I do want to spend time, I go to my parents. I plan like a hike with them or something, like, something different. Like, you know what I mean? That's what brings me happiness now. I hate going to the club now. I fucking hate it like with passion.
I've always hated going to the club, bro. It's just a bunch of like fucking lonely people.
House parties, maybe sometimes if the people are right.
Yeah.
But I like doing shit like this, like podcasts, where I get to sit with someone and like pick their brain and learn something from them. And like maybe take that away. And this is fun for me, man. Like I'm having a lot of fun like doing this shit.
Dude, I'm a simple man. I like Like, I love smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
I like drinking good whiskey, good wine, you know what I mean? And I like just talking to people. I'm not that type of dude who goes to party. Anytime I go to a club, my favorite part about going to a club is walking outside of the club when everyone's inside dancing, all this shit. And I like talking to people outside of the club, and I like asking people to bum me a cigarette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I see outside the club, everyone's outside having a smoke. I like going like,
And
give me a cigarette. Let me have a smoke with you. Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
That is
sick.
That is my favorite part of a
That's
night
awesome,
out.
man.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about? Let's talk about what do you got in your mind? This is one of those freestyle fucking podcasts because we're vibing right now. We're drinking. I'm buzzing. I'm having fun right now.
No, exactly.
We had some real talks. Mama was talked about from somehow some beef with the friends or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And then music, creativeness. But okay, what is that? Okay, so in terms of music, are you gonna release something right now, or are you just are you thinking about like this is me asking you as someone who cares about you and
100%.
wants to know what's going on with you as a brother. Are you thinking about releasing an EP maybe or something? Because I know you were working on an EP last time I talked to you. So are you still working on that, or are you just like fucking scratch this shit? I'm gonna create something new.
It's scratch this shit. Let's figure it out. Let me figure out. You know, I went through the last 2 years. I went through like a lot, and it's one of those things where it's I just feel like a new person. I feel grateful for life. I feel very optimistic.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like, you know, for the first time in a long time, like I'm just living life. And I'm grateful for the people around me. I'm grateful for the friends I have. I'm grateful for the opportunities that God's given me. It's one of those things, and you got to work hard. You know, it's another part of life I'm realizing where it's like a lot of things have just kind of been given to me, landed in my lap. And now it's about like having that drive. It's like that's why I brought up Solu at the start of this podcast. Yeah. That dude, like when I see him achieve something, I know the fucking work that went behind achieving that.
Man. It's crazy because people see them like maybe him get his first nice gig now, like oh yeah he started his career now, but there was a lot that was put in before that to get to that place, right?
Dude, that man is the definition of work.
That's awesome.
Work, holding yourself accountable.
I wish I could meet this guy because like to me now it's like I love being around that energy because that like
he's a madman. He's a madman. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, and it's like that drives me, man.
Bro, he works. I don't know if he does it anymore, but when I met him, he worked a full fucking nursing shift. Right, he was a registered nurse in Los Angeles, and then when he came home, it was straight to the passion. He records monologues of himself.
I can relate to this kid already.
Dude, yeah, he records monologues every single fucking day. He has different actors come in and they do scenes together, and you know, through all of that, he maintains good relationships with his friends. Yeah. Like this guy doesn't sleep. He's a Terminator.
That's awesome, man.
That's what you need to be though. If you wanna reach the top of any industry,
I honestly relate to him a lot because like literally what I do is work, like finish my job right away. Okay, what's happening with the podcast? Let's plan this shit. What's next? This and that. Edit shit. Or I'm in fucking editing my podcast, which I hate with passion, but I still do it.
Yeah.
And then rehearse time, man. Like I gotta go fucking
do
my harmonium.
Yeah.
Gotta fucking do my vocal fucking practices. Do my rogs, and then what's up with the music now? Okay, what do you do
to enjoy? Like what do you do on
the weekend
on those moments where you just have some time?
Honestly, can I tell you something? Honestly, nothing. I like doing nothing sometimes.
Just fucking like sitting down.
Dude, just fucking doing nothing. Like, dude, I think we need, as humans, we need to just like let go and do nothing once in a while.
Oh, of course.
Like
but
maybe
you can't
half
get too
a day.
into that. You can't get
not too much.
That. You know, that's the thing I've realized. Like when they fucking legalized weed here, and they started making this like genetically like fucking altered like mega weed. Like the weed like we're smoking now is not the same weed they were smoking in the 70s. You know what I mean? You realize that like I had roommates a while ago, about a year ago now, and those dudes were fucking zombies. Like they'd wake up, take a fucking rip in the morning, and I'm all for a good wake and bake, you know what I mean? Yeah. But they just take a rip in the morning, rip in the middle of the day, and then like it got to a point where I remember I was talking to this kid, and he was telling me, he's like, I can't fall asleep without smoking, and he would smoke a fucking copious amount of weed, and I'm all for it, bro. Have a good time. I like drinking, I like smoking, I like all of that shit. I'm all for having your vices, but. You know, especially like this culture we have in Toronto and Canada ever since we legalized marijuana, and that it's like, oh, it's okay, it's totally non-addictive, and like nothing bad can come from it. How many zombies have you seen just walking around? And you know that goes past weed. That's a mindset thing, right? Where we go back to the wake up, go to school or work, then come back and sleep, and then like you'll fuck your girlfriend, and then you wake up the next day and you do the same shit. You wake up, you go to school or work, and then you come back and you fucking smoke some weed, you fuck your girlfriend, and then you go back to sleep.
It gets boring after a while, man. You feel numb at times.
But how many people like you feel numb at times? I feel numb at times. How many people do you really think are not okay with that numbness like you are or I am? Or that
I think
people
they
we
feel
keep
it when they're alone. I truly think that. I think they truly feel it.
But that's why they
you know what it is?
These
they
relationships.
They trick themselves. This is something that I've noticed. People that try to like trick themselves, like, okay, when they feel like this, they don't want to be vulnerable and like have a discussion with themselves, like what's going on. Instead, they call a friend, yo, you want to get a drink? They rely on other people for happiness, right? Which is where I think a lot of people are going wrong.
So this kid, this roommate I'm talking about, moved down here. He came from Singapore. Smart kid, ambitious kid, very much like you. Very in terms of wants to get his work done. Wants to. I remember talking to him, and he told me he wanted to. He was doing HR, and then he's like, my dream is he loved basketball, like with a fucking passion. He watches every game. I'm sure you can relate to that. Like you love ball, right? And his goal was, I want to move to San Francisco and do HR at the fucking Warriors headquarters, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, what a fucking dream.
Yeah.
What a dream. Go for it.
So direct, too.
Yeah. Kill. I tell him, you know what, come move in with me. I have a place downtown. I need a fucking roommate. Come move in with me. I've known him for 2 months at this time. My father and mother actually like took him in, right? All of these things. And so I was like, come move in with me. He comes, moves in with me. The fucking very same month. Like, dude, month's going crazy. We're working hard, right? Ambitious. And this is the thing, like men find these relationships and they throw their ambition out of the fucking window. He met this girl 3 months into moving into Canada, right? The very next month he tells me that she's gonna move in with us. I was like, whatever, you know what I mean, right? But he was like, oh, I'm looking for a new place. He couldn't find a place he could afford, so he's like, can she move in with us? She wants to be near me. I'm obviously like, okay, yeah, all for it. Come, let her move in with us. But you see men destroy themselves. Like, I don't know if you've seen it in your own personal life on how many men get into relationships and that's it. Ambition's out the window. It's this crazy destructive cycle.
Yeah. I think maybe he's also young too, at this point, because I've done
elder than me.
I'm guilty of this as when I was younger, where I've seen myself. It's also addicting to kind of. I tell you, there's some really toxic. This is kind of fucked up. I'm sharing too much, a little bit personal about myself, but
that's what this is for.
Yeah. But dude, honestly, I got addicted to like breaking up with people and like find that like after I broke up with someone, that time when I was single, the drive I had.
Go through it. Yeah.
That shit is insane. I felt like there's an artist that was known for it, like Taylor Swift. She's known for breakups and like making bangers after, right?
Yeah.
I felt like Taylor Swift, dog. I was like, bro, I make my best songs when I'm fucking breaking up with someone, or when I'm single and I come out of this.
Heartbreak drives you like nothing else,
bro. And I'm in the gym. I have so much time.
No, but you know what? At least you use that for yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta feel yourself.
I'm talking about those dudes who get into a relationship.
Yeah.
Their friends go out the window. Their ambitions go out the window.
Yeah.
Like all of those things. They just prioritize this person that they've met.
Everybody kind of goes through that, and I personally seen so much of that a lot, and like I've struggled with it, and I think over the time you have to like kind of just deal with it and find the right balance for yourself, right? So as I was saying, I got into this toxic behavior where I would like be in a relationship
get in and then get out,
and I'd be like comfortable, and I'm like, fuck, I'm too comfortable, break up, right? And then I'm like, fuck it, this is like there's like a hike of like performance and like a lot of creative energy, and then like a few months later I meet
you're back in that rut.
Yeah, right? But I realized that's not a sustainable fucking pattern, right? As I got older, I'm like, I need to find someone who is the one for me, where they know what I do.
They motivate you.
And they give me my space to do this. And when you're an artist, you need your fucking space. Dude. There's nothing more that you need, your freedom and space as an artist.
Dude, because, I personally, like, it's been hard for me to be, and relationships aren't even on my mind, to be quite frank. But in terms of, I've not been in a very serious, like, committed relationship other than, like, one, right? But that's because I'm always traveling. I'm always out doing some fuck shit, right? I'm always, like, people always think I'm sharing too much personal details in my songs. Like, the amount of songs I've written, and I put them out, and then I get messages, I can't believe you put this out there. right? I can't believe you said this about me. I can't believe you feel this about me.
It's almost a curse being heard sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, what do your friends think about me? What does your engineer think about me? Like, what have you said to get this out there? Like, I didn't know like X, Y, and Z happened for you to go write a song about it, but that's my fucking job. It's my job to write songs about like my relationship with you, my relationship with women,
anything
my relationship.
You feel, dude, sometimes you just get something from it and you write it, right?
That's the thing. I've always found like the way I cash my checks is to go, I profit off of misery. I profit off of my misery. I profit off of my heartbreak. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting job in terms of that. How many jobs do you go out there and it's like, okay, the way I make my bread, the way I make my name is to talk about all the things that no one talks about. Like the things I talk about in my songs, people talk about with their fucking therapist. You know what I mean? But I share it to everybody.
Therapy though in that way.
Exactly.
For people.
My decision is to share it with everybody. This is how I find peace. This is my purpose in life.
You're an open book. That's how I feel. Like you're an open book. I don't give a fuck if you read it. You read it. This is me, right?
This
That's
is
how
me.
you feel
This is
it,
me.
right?
This is who I am.
I relate to that a lot.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like people in my life find some offense to it. You know what I mean? They feel certain ways about it, but it's like, if you don't understand me, you don't understand that I can be the healthiest relationship with you, right? And I'll write about that, right?
Yeah.
But I still fucking write about that one time you pissed me off. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And I think you gotta find the right person who just knows you well enough, right? Understands you, right?
And who's comfortable with that?
Yeah, and like it's a hard job for them too, and it's not easy for someone to, dude, because some people are private, right? They don't like to be fucking everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Just because we're open books doesn't mean like that person likes to be everywhere, right?
Yeah, like you're talking about our personal business. You're talking about like something that we went through as like a unit, right?
So
and you're sharing it with everybody.
They're right in their own way, right? But I feel like,
and I feel for them.
Yeah.
I feel for them. Like any girl who I've gotten into like any sort of relationship with, there's always been a point where it's like, you have to understand that my first love in life is music. you are secondary.
Which is hard to think about it as a guy, like as a person. If you meet a girl and you're not her first priority, you'll feel some type of way about that too. So I
respect that.
I would respect that, but at the same way, we're like, okay, I get it. Eventually, you understand it. But for that to happen, you would really have to love that person.
What was a moment in life? This is completely separate. Yeah. What was a moment in life where you were finally like, okay, I can fucking relax?
I think that's when I found my girl, dog. Like that's my girl. Like I'm gonna marry the shit out of her one day. I think that's when I was like, you know what? I can relax on this. You know what? This is an interesting topic. Okay, I don't know if you meant that in that way, but that's how I related to that.
Let's hear how you.
Because that's how I related.
I'll narrow it down.
Because I related to this thing. I found
that's
peace.
Beautiful. Love's beautiful.
I found peace when I found because she's my homie.
How real? Like that
is
rare,
dog. Like
rare.
I've been through like shit ton of bad fucking topics. Like, I'm talking about like I'm almost 30 now. I've been through so much shitty fucking relationships that I was toxic. And then I remember the cycle I was telling you about.
Yeah, it's going through it.
And then I found this person, and I was like, am I lucky? When you're lucky, when you find the lottery, you sometimes don't believe you have it.
Yeah, like what's gonna happen?
Like, yo, is that true? Like, do I really have it? Like, that's how I feel. But, I relate this to a lot of people that are successful. For example, LeBron James, right? He had his girl and someone who was holding him down. Now he can just focus on his career, dog. He's not worried about his love life.
Because you're solid. Dude, you're solid. You're there.
As a man, bro, like, that's a relief. That's when you're like, okay, I'm good. This side is all taken care of. I don't give a fuck about if you're hot. This girl you meet, you don't think about it. You're networking because you really want to be networking. You're not trying to hit on bitches. You're not going out to really hit on bitches. You're going out to have a good time with your friends.
Yo, anytime I go
that
to like
everything, dog. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
anytime I go to the thing is, I'm not even in a very like committed relationship with anything other than my craft, right? And I'm lucky enough, like the partners that I have, they understand that. You know what I mean? And they understand that I'm in a position, and at my age, I'm 21. I just turned 21. Yeah. At my age, bro, if you're focused on me, you got a fucking issue, bro. Go handle your life. Yeah. Dude, at 21.
Oh, no, you gotta,
what do you know? I've had girls who just like straight up fucking cling on, right? And that is, what's the point of that? Like, dude, it's
not good for you either. And
you can't support, themselves. It's not good for them.
Yeah,
it's not good for them. So honestly, it's one of those things.
If you're 21 and you, okay, I mean, love happens anytime, but I feel like, this is my personal opinion, you gotta be selfish till you're 25.
25 is early, bro.
Like
25 is
selfish.
25 is the earliest where you can start thinking about love.
Sometimes, yeah, exactly. Like you gotta start even like maybe a thought of it, but you're still brushing it off.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, and that's the thing. Like men need to learn about this.
Yeah,
right?
Focusing on yourself is the biggest thing.
Dude, because like a lot of these dudes, like that's what I'm saying. I've had that's just one example of that dude throwing his fucking ambition away out the window, throwing his friends.
And I love
out
that
the
kid,
window.
by the way. I know what you're talking about, and I love him.
Yeah, I love him too.
Yeah,
I love him too.
And as a brother, you're like, fuck, bro, so much there, right? Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? I hope he sometimes finds his way to like find that balance, because I think balance is everything, right?
Balance is everything. And you know, I get it. Like, this is the loneliest people have been. This is the loneliest men have been throughout centuries.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Like, you look at your friends around you, you look at just like young men growing up. I look at like my peers around me. It's like, I know you guys are fucking lonely.
Bro,
but it's
mad lonely as a man, bro.
There is so much more to figure out about life before you go down these paths of going like, you know what, I'm gonna marry this girl, because at 21 you're not gonna marry this girl.
And I don't think that's a great decision either, because like it won't, like, I mean, it might work, but it's like the chances of it working is really, really steep, right?
Yeah,
like
you gotta get your shit together.
Yeah, man.
Like you said, 100K is the new 50K.
Yeah, bro. And that's not 100K in Canada. You're living on rent. You're not buying anything.
Dude, 100K in Canada, in America, like this North American continent's a fucking joke. It's like, okay, like you went through, like you kind of like just went through life.
Yeah, like you're doing okay. You're doing good. Which is fine, right?
It's comfortable.
Like it's good. It's good. It's good.
Dude, 100K when our parents were making 100K 20 years ago, different story.
Level.
They were rich.
They got mortgages.
Yeah,
they're buying houses, right?
Buying the nicest cars. You get Maseratis, the Teslas, all that shit.
This is a whole different topic, because like I find our generation or your generation coming up cannot afford a house, bro. Not anymore.
Unless you have that support.
Unless you have like support, which is, I'm grateful for my fucking parents for like building this or whatever, like even yours, right? Like I feel like they have kind of educated us about this kind of stuff early.
And they're also solid.
Yeah,
like there's nothing you would ask your mom and dad for that they wouldn't give you.
Exactly.
Like they would put their lives on hold.
It's a blessing, right? But it's like same time, if we didn't have that, bro, we'll be fucking screwed, man. Like,
are you kidding?
Like I don't think that's fucked, bro. Like I don't think
I couldn't be a musician. Like I couldn't have started how I started. Like it was initially, I was 16 years old, and I told my dad I wanted to record in Noble Street Studios, because I googled. You know, you always when you're doing some shit, best studio in Toronto.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I googled Noble Street Studio. My dad said, you know what? If that's where you want to fucking record, go record there. Right, and then it put me in a position where I recorded a song there. I did a couple of shows. Now I'm in the position where I can do it myself. But that's privilege.
Dude, it's insane level privilege, dude. It's crazy. Shout out to brown parents, man. Like I feel like they really hold it down for their kids, man. Dude. Like especially when sometimes they can get traditional, but I feel like there's that like one side of them that they really grind for you, man. And I see a lot of kids that they like, they need that.
And it's just one of those things. Like COVID made people lonely. It was lonely before then. Like these things make people lonely. Yeah. You know, you're fucking scrolling. You're on Instagram and you're on X, Y, and Z, and it's those things like you just feel fucking lonely. You feel isolated, especially this cell phone that you have in your hand at all times.
Just social media in general, like they're chasing after that, not fame, but that clout of like almost like how many people like my shit. Right?
Dude, how many regular people whose jobs are not social media, whose lives really have no fucking, like, social media should have no real effect on their life? How many people are going on their phone going like, oh shit, like maybe I should delete this post. It didn't get enough likes.
Yeah.
Like it's insane the way people's brains are wired.
Yeah, man. I think it's like people are forgetting how to be humans and just like trying to be this brand all the time, which is cool. You're doing your thing. So it works out for someone though. Like I know someone that like started like food vlogging and now they're a famous food vlogger, right? And like they're doing good.
No, but that's separate. That's like passion. I'm talking about fucking regular people going on their phone and like this is like for some reason Instagram is a big part of their life. Like I'm a fucking artist and Instagram is not even secondary to me. It is so far down the line on things I give a shit about. Right? Like even my Spotify monthly listeners, I do not give a shit about that. I don't care. Right? It's one of those things, like the people who are real are like, you'll come to my show if you're real. Like I have like 40,000 monthly listeners, right?
You want it organically. You don't want it. Because like, if you don't have it organically, that's just going to go away soon and then it's not real, right?
And that's the thing, so much of music now is pay to play. It's payola, right? You got to pay the radio off. You got to pay the DJ off. You got to, and that's where record labels come in, because record labels are that payola. Yeah. It's all payola.
Yeah, man. And the organic, I guess the organic run is very rare. Like once in a while, there's like someone who comes and then they organically blow the fuck up, and then.
But even then, that's
crazy.
like Chance the Rapper, right? "Quote unquote organic." That motherfucker's been signed to UMG from the start.
Really?
From the start,
his mixtapes,
bro. His mixtapes, The Coloring Book, Acid Rain, all those things. UMG distributed those. Russ, whose whole brand is "I'm an independent artist. I'm independent. I did this all my shit." He has a distribution deal with Paramount.
Damn.
Like these guys are not independent. Post Malone, tell me on his debut album how the fuck he got Justin Bieber. Explain it to me. Explain it to me.
It's hard to get that big feature.
Justin fucking Bieber.
Yeah.
And in 2016, like, he just dropped Purpose. You don't just get that dude on your album as an independent artist, no matter who you are. That's just not how the industry works. That's not how the world works. Like now, record labels are signing people on closed book deals because they want to market you as an independent artist.
Oh man, what the fuck? Hold on, what? So that's like a thing that's happening now.
It happened with Chance. Happened with Post.
Fuck, that's mind blowing.
That's the thing. No one like.
But being independent is such a journey. It's fucking tiring at times, though. Like it's really tiring at times.
But the thing is, like, you're only independent because like this is your life. You know what I mean? Like being an independent artist, all this. But I don't think there's that much clout to it either. Like, you know, people will like brag about, "Oh, I'm independent and I did this and I did that." But it's like you're just living your fucking life, bro. Like if this is you, like this is what you are. Being independent, being signed doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, that's true. That is insane. Yeah, I mean, I know back in the day when the rap game was, it's like getting signed to a label was the biggest achievement. That was the biggest thing, right?
Now getting signed to label is often viewed as a crux.
Yeah.
Like you fucked yourself.
Yeah, that is actually the thing. That's the mindset now. It's like, oh, you signed to a label, you took the easy way out.
Dude, when I got my first deal from UMG, right? When I was sharing it with people, they're like, "Oh, are you really gonna sign this deal? Like, this is a slave contract." Like, how many times has that term been thrown around to me, right? When I just started getting deals for the first time. This is a slave contract. You're not gonna make any money on this. Like, this is like a 60-40, 360 split. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things like. Def Jam doesn't have the like. Def Jam is my like dream label, and like when UMG gave me that offer, it was like, oh my god, Def Jam just gave me a fucking deal. Like that is insane. I can't believe it, right? Like I have a fucking contract to this day. Like I look at it, right? I ultimately decided to not go down that route.
Why not?
Just creatively, like they wanted some crazy shit. Just creatively, it didn't make sense for me. But that is the only label I signed to. Because of the history behind it, you know what I mean? And when you sign to label, like you start seeing artists are not grateful for what the label provides them. They feel like they're owed shit, right? But then at the end of the day, like I view the label as a bank with connections. Like whereas you go to a financial advisor to hit up your mortgage and you get a great fucking mortgage interest rate, all that stuff. A record label is a bank who'll give you a loan. But instead of specializing in mortgages, they specialize in advertisement. They specialize in promotion. They specialize in
that you really
They specialize in that community. They can't get you a mortgage. They could. I mean, like record labels always give people houses and cars and all that shit. But they specialize in getting your fucking name out there. You know what I mean? They'll give you a loan, but the same way the bank gives you a loan for a house, for example. But they'll give you a loan to spend it on their connections.
And I think it's all about knowledge, right? Like it's like what you don't know, you just kind of don't know, right? It's like as an independent artist, you don't know much, man. What's really going on, right? As a label, you know shit. Like you know something that a lot of people don't know.
But how many artists do you see like they'll sign to a label deal and they've agreed to the terms? Whether you come from a financially educated background or not everyone is as lucky in the music industry. The music industry ultimately is a lot of people coming from nothing into something. That is the most popular music industry trope. Is I was nothing, I've come from something, I came out of Compton, I came out of Southgate, I came out of Jane and Finch, I came out of O-Block, and I like now I drive an Urus around, and now I have a house in the hills.
A story to it, right?
Yeah. But that is the most popular, is the rag to riches story. So a lot of these people will sign deals that are bad for them ultimately. Like you see Logic, you see all these people, but as soon as they start going against their label, their careers go into the shitter because their labels control 100% of it. You have to play for that team. Once you sign a contract with label, it is not just the advance you get. It is not just the money you get, the access to studios, to producers.
You have,
You play for that team. And the reason labels are suffering the reason artists are suffering is because they're forgotten. That team, yo, once you signed to Atlantic, back in the day, you were Atlantic. Yeah. Once Michael Jackson signed to his label, he was that label. He represented that brand through and through.
So question. So a lot of Michael Jackson and Prince, they talked a lot about owning...
Big names. They
talked a lot about owning your own masters.
Mm-hmm. And Michael didn't own his own masters. Michael ended up buying the Beatles masters, and he bought Eminem's masters and all those things. But he never got to own his own masters.
Why is that they talk about that then when they're signed to these... And they play for these teams, right?
And Michael's in the industry since he was a kid. Like, don't act like Michael was uneducated about his deal.
Like he knows his shit, man.
Yeah.
It's like he's been around it so much that he knows the ins and outs, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, like...
how else do you buy the Beatles' fucking catalog?
Like, crazy. So, I think that's... When they hear that... There's a lot of artists that are growing up, when they hear that, they're like, okay, maybe I don't want to sign to a label. Maybe I want to be independent. But why... So, I know it's romanticized to own your own masters now.
Mm-hmm. What are your masters worth if no one's listening to them?
Yeah, actually.
So you give your masters to a label because they'll make those valuable. And then once those things are valuable, you want to go back and like fight for them. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me for you to sign a deal, for them to give you everything you wanted. It'd be fame, clout, a name, notoriety, all these things. And then you go back to the label and you're like, you know what? I want more.
Yeah, actually, that's a true... I mean, I've never thought about that because, I mean, when you're like... if you don't have that connection, maybe you won't make it out.
Masters are worth nothing. Yeah. When you start, your masters are worth nothing. Your label makes those masters worth something. And then you go to the dudes who made your catalog worth something. Like, you know, as a matter of fact, I think I deserve my catalog too. And then you got to look at it from their perspective. Like, what was your catalog before you were here? I
guess the best case scenario is maybe you do a hybrid where you own some of the masters.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what like Russ did. That's what Post Malone did, right? That's what Chance the Rapper did, where it's like they own their own masters and they got distribution deals with record labels.
Yeah.
Right? Well, they'll distribute your records for you and they'll do all of that stuff for you.
And you give them like a fee kind of thing, right?
Yeah, but you pay out of the ass for that. And then artists don't want to do that because they see that oh, like what you wanna take like $600,000 out of my pocket. You can't have it all.
Yeah. I mean, if you're getting the exposure that they provide and the volume they provide, you kind of have to pay for that, right? Almost.
Ultimately, it's one of those things. It's where it's like, if you take an opportunity, especially like when you sign to a label, you gotta play for that team.
It is true, actually. I mean, it's an interesting topic because I'm like, damn, like, because I was very like, to this. I mean, we talk about it now, and I'm like, before this, I was like, I'm so pro-independent. Like, I'm like, okay, be independent. Like, don't sign to a label. Mm-hmm. But then, like, you're right. Like, it's like there's a lot of things that the label can do for you that can make and break you, right?
Yeah.
And, like...
Think about it. Like, when Logic... Like, I keep going back to him. When he started going against Def Jam, saying that Def Jam's not paying my people enough, X, Y, and Z, where's his career gone? He's retired, like, 6 times. Because every time he drops an album, it doesn't do what it used to do.
And he's trying to retire so people can actually...
Yeah, I just retired like 12 times by now. Every album is his retirement album.
Yeah, crazy. Oh, man. Okay, question for you. Who are the top 3 artists right now? Like, playing the game right now? Who are actively playing?
Like, Drake's at top of the hill.
Okay.
Whether I really love his music or not, like, it's undeniable that man is at the top of the game. Who else? Like, that's the thing. Like, when you think about just like heavy hitters, is like Drake comes to my mind number 1 in terms of like who has that name, who has like the numbers to back him, who has that stuff. Whereas like back in the day, like you had Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, like
there were so many.
All
even in hip hop alone, there was like J. Cole, Kendrick, Big Sean.
Like,
back in the day, like, you know, they were just killing it, man. Like, all of them. Drake.
Like, I don't know. I find myself less listening to like mainstream music, and I'm just listening to sounds. Like, I'm interested in sounds. Who uses sounds the most?
That's crazy.
But like top 3, you give me your top 3. I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah. Well,
I know who's the king of the hill.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's the strategy to be
What's
on
the
the
hill?
Top, right? Like you like, eliminate your competition, and maybe he's did it all, right? Like, it's like
he's the king of the hill, but it's like who is top 3 to you?
I mean, Lil Baby, maybe in hip hop. I'm talking like Lil Baby is like, even Drake shows him love. Like he's the next up. He's the next. He's trying to pass that a little torch, but it's like not really like doing it a lot. It's just like mentioning it once.
I know BTS is like fucking just murdering the game in terms of numbers and all that type of stuff.
Bad Bunny is like...
Bad Bunny's doing great.
I guess Spanish music itself is...
Spanish music, like the Indian music, Punjabi music.
Oh, Punjabi music doing numbers too, yeah.
That's the thing. It's like now it's like everyone is so like there's people in the King of the Hill. Like there's just that in every industry itself. But like if I give you a top 3 of artists, I don't know who deserves a top 3.
Yeah, I guess let's do hip hop only then. Hip hop only. I think Drake, Lil Baby. Who would it be the third one?
Kendrick,
yeah, like right. I mean, like, cause he hasn't put out like he does put out music, but it's like once fucking every 5 years.
5-10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, I don't know.
It's one of those questions like where is music?
Is hip hop dying? Like that's my question.
But it's not. It's the most popular it's ever been. But it's because everything's quick. Everything's those quick sounds. Everyone wants a 30-second snippet. Everyone wants
like a TikTok sound.
Like think about this. In the last 5 years, labels have signed the most amount of artists they've ever signed historically. It's been the easiest time to get a fucking record deal as an artist. If you haven't got a record deal in the past 5 years and you've been making music seriously for those 5 years, pack your fucking shit. Go home. Like, if a label has not shown interest in you, like, dude, come on. They're signing anybody because all labels want now is to get that one TikTok song out of you, throw your ass on tour, sell merch from your ass, get 75, 80% of profit from you, and they're done with you.
Maybe 6 month, a year kind of like run where it's like...
But yeah, labels are short term now. Yeah. Labels are short term. Labels used to be like, okay, we're going to get like Michael, right? He's like 5 years old, and we're going to get him all the way until he's like dead.
It's like a life thing.
It's a life term.
Now it's like...
And they used to build artists.
Give me one TikTok crazy sound, it blew up.
Yeah, and we're going to send you on tour for 6 months, and then it's like, what happened to 24K Golden? Like, I haven't heard about that guy. Like, you think about any of the dudes who've had like popping songs. Like, what have been the top songs of this year?
All TikTok sounds.
Yeah, but like,
it's
like
I
name
don't
me
know
those
the names
artists
because I just all song names that I can like think of. Like it's like it's all TikTok sounds. It's like I don't even know the song name. I just remember the fucking melody.
Yeah,
because it gets played on TikTok so much. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's one of those things where it's like these artists who've gone like platinum 24 times can't sell out shows. Like they can't sell out 200 people shows.
Maybe the solution is they all come together and do one show together. They'll do one song each.
But they're so egotistical that never, because like I'm not splitting my profit with you. Like we sold out 20 grand. Everyone's gonna be like, they came for me. They came for me.
Like that's the solution, right? Because like I'm thinking like 10 TikToks, like big songs. You make them perform everywhere. People will fucking stand there and listen to that.
Because they all come from like one song. Yeah, like the 10 biggest hits.
And you'll make money together. That's the solution to this shit. But it's like...
The music's an ego game.
Yeah, it is.
Art's an ego game.
That's kind of crazy.
No one wants to share a stage. Like, imagine you had like this hit song, went platinum, right? Or went gold, or whatever the case is. And then now they're asking you to share a fucking stage with somebody. And you're like...
Honestly, I do it, bro.
You might do, but think about most people in that position where it's like, what are you talking about? Like, I have a hit song on my hands. I can't sell out 2,000 people.
I think...
You're right, okay, you know what? Top 3 changes. I think Tory Lanez should be in that conversation for top 3.
I feel so... Bro,
I feel for that guy.
Bro, a great artist is going to get locked up where it's like there's a lot to him that was still out. Like, he could have done so much more for
dude. It's a fucking shit. And you know what? Like, I truly believe... Like, this is getting into conspiracy level type shit, but I truly believe he went independent. All of this shit happened to him as soon as he went independent. He dropped his hottest album of all time, went independent, and was... unrecognized success for an independent artist, you know what I mean? And then all of this shit happens. I think the same thing happened with Kendrick where he was signed to TDE, right? And then TDE, like, you think TDE went to Kendrick was like, oh, I'm not signing with you after this album? They just shook hands, like, yeah, we're going to make this album great for you? Yeah. Fuck no. I guarantee you they went through every single thing they could because they knew Kendrick was going to sell anyways, but they went through every single step they could have taken to make sure that Kendrick's name was stained by the time that album came out. Who talks about Mr. Morales and the Big Steppers? How many times does that come up in conversation, that album? People talk about Good Kid, Mad City. People talk about To Pimp a Butterfly. People talk about Damning. You know what I mean? But who talk... Like, last time you heard it was like, oh, let me throw on some fucking Mr. Morales and the Big Steppers. You don't hear that. Damn. But that's because you think Kendrick went to them and said, oh, I'm not going to re-sign with you. And they were like, oh, yeah, no worries. We're still going to make this album your best album.
For you, yeah. Fuck, dude. That's crazy.
Why would you invest in that?
I mean, yeah, you're... Or... Yeah, like it's kind of crazy. Wasn't top like where? Okay, weren't they boys when they signed each other or they started labeled together?
They were, but at the end of the day, like Kendrick is responsible for like billions of dollars worth of money coming in. That's another thing.
Their label's gonna go to shit now. I mean,
like, who do they have? Isaiah Rashad, but Isaiah Rashad's so like
Schoolboy Q.
Yeah, like those guys are so inconsistent.
They're
with
they're lit. There's underground artists.
Dude,
right?
Schoolboy Q's hard. Isaiah Rashad's fucking.
They're hard.
Right?
They're
those
like
guys are consistent. They're not Kendrick.
Yeah, they're underground artists.
They're not
kill
Kendrick.
it. Right?
Yeah. Now Kendrick signed to himself.
Not like fucking Drake Kendrick level. Like they're like that's like MVP shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So it's like you really think they behind the scenes is all cool behind those guys?
Yeah, man. There's probably so much that goes on.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. Like I had someone I was having a conversation with. They're like, oh, at least Kendrick Lamar's super real. It's like these artists are responsible for billions of dollars, and Kendrick Lamar is one of those artists who's responsible for billions of dollars worth of fucking money coming in and out of this record label. You know nothing about that guy. Nothing about that. Like, he's never tweeted something that has been vetted by 30 people. He's never recorded a song that hasn't gone through rooms and rooms and rooms and rooms of people. This is not good for your brand. This can go here and this can go there. And, like, I don't want you to say something like this. As much as, like, Kendrick is a raw artist and, like, a lot of the shit he says comes from the heart, it's all manufactured. That's the thing. When you sign to label and you're making that much money, a part of it is you, but a large part of it is now the label.
That is so true, because like they probably won't say stuff that's gonna get him canceled or whatever. You know, there's a lot of that going on too, right? So it's like, that's crazy to. And then people are like, "Oh, he's the realest ever," you know.
Yeah,
like,
but it's
you don't know him.
It's like, dude, this is a man who's made. Like, it is parts and pieces by.
Maybe you'll find the real him in his old mixtapes when he's like just an independent, like a raw artist.
But even Kendrick, like how independent was he? Like, fucking Dr. Dre had his eye on him from the jump.
It's true. Oh damn, you're right. He was signed like very early too, right?
Yeah, early on.
He had like one or two mixtapes, and then
early on in his career. That's the thing. Like, people, like, there's some industry plants who are done very well. You know what I mean? Drake, example.
He's an industry plant, you think?
See, at a certain point, like when you get signed to Young Money at such a young age, whether you had some raw mixtapes, right? Now you're plant. Like, now people are telling you got to do this and you got to do this and this is best for your career. Kendrick Lamar, Dr. Dre. You don't get in a room with Dr. Dre if he doesn't know that he's gonna have control over you.
Yeah.
Because why would he put his name on something you can't control?
That is very true. When I think about industry plant, though, I think about like maybe the short-term artists that like just come for 1-2 hits and then they make
like
the
Billie
most
Eilish,
money.
industry plant, Chance the Rapper, plant, Post Malone, plant. Like, our largest stars are fucking plants.
A lot of the littles are plants, right?
Yeah,
like
and that's
littles.
the thing. Like, it's not necessarily bad to be a plant, because at the end of the day, what is it being planted? It means you're getting water and nutrients, you're getting sunshine, someone's taking care of you. So, like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to be an industry plant, right? The people who are the largest stars in the world, I think they've been planted in the best way, right? Like Kendrick Lamar, I think he was allowed to say what he wanted to say. Yeah. I think Drake was allowed to say what he wanted to say. I think like all of those guys, those two like really come to mind when I think of, like, they're uncolloquial industry plants. They're not industry plants.
They're likable. Have you noticed they're all likable people?
Because they don't say anything.
No.
When's the last time you heard a Drake interview that wasn't completely scripted front to end?
That's crazy. It's like
Drake doesn't go on Charlamagne's podcast, you know what I mean? He doesn't go on like Sway in the morning.
Raw, like, where he's just being himself.
It's
so true.
Like, you think Drake's ever done an interview in the past 15 years where, like, he has been given every question? He probably doesn't even get questions. He probably gives the interviewer questions.
This is what you ask.
Yeah, like, this is what I'm willing to talk about. Damn. Everything's super edited. That's the thing. Like, people live in this make-believe world where they think they know the artist. You don't know the person. And
it's hard to know the person as a human. You're so complex anyways.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Fuck, that's crazy. What else is on your mind, man? This is some interesting comment. This is the most freestyled podcast I've ever done. It's actually been the most fun. Where it's like, I'm just talking about whatever the fuck I want to talk about.
Oh, that's what you love about podcasts, bro. You just want to come,
great.
you want to drink, and you want to...
Yeah, you want to just talk, right?
What's on your mind? What about you? What is finding love done for you?
bro, like I think it just put me at peace where I think I relate love to peace, and I relate that it it allows me to work on my craft and like not feel guilty that I'm not giving time to someone or anything like that. Like finding that true person who like really holds it down for you, and that's what it means, right? Like they understand you. I think the biggest thing of finding love is like understanding someone. Like you really understand that person, and you like them for who they are, and then like you kind of want them to do the best they can be. So that's why this is the conversation where it's like you change yourself as a man to tailor towards a woman, right? And you give up on your ambition. That's not the woman for you then, right? You don't realize it now. Maybe it is, but then you inside hate yourself for it a little bit.
Dude, yeah. No,
right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
you're pissed off at yourself.
When you're 50 and you're like, fuck, like this is great. This love and this marriage has gone great for me, but what else have I done before I go? Have I really lived my life how I wanted to?
How many people you think in their like you and I have not reached that age yet, where we're 50 years old, 60 years old. But how many people you think reach that age where it's just like, and they're filled with regret? And what would that feel like? Like that's what motivates me to live true to myself, because like I do not want to get to that point and feel that regret.
Same here, dude. Like that's whenever I go down where like, okay, am I doing the right thing or not? I always think about that. I'm like, am I gonna be in my deathbed thinking like, yo, I did everything I wanted to fucking do. I'm ready to go. Like that's good.
Yeah, like God take me.
Like yeah, take me. I'm good, bro. I did my shit.
Like, do you believe in an afterlife?
I'm spiritual, dog. Like I don't believe in an afterlife, but I feel like I'm spiritual. Like I feel like karma, energy. You leave your energy behind. Like I feel like I believe in energy. Like you are a product of your ancestors. Like you kind of are, because your energy kind of still lives. So maybe there's some part of you that is still like your grandpa or like your grandma or whatever, right?
That's
maybe
beautiful.
your parents. So there's some pieces of it, and you see it because sometimes I do something and like my mom goes, "Oh my god!" Like I've seen my dad do that.
Have you ever experimented with like psychedelics?
No.
Yeah, no, because I feel like that's one of those things where it brings you to like that zen. That just like, oh my god.
Bro, I feel like I'm very zen already. Like I'm gonna be super zen. I'm gonna be like fucking calm as fuck and not talk at all.
Yeah, no podcast. You're just quiet.
Just quiet as fuck the whole time. Do you understand me? Like how am I supposed to read your mind, dog?
I'm talking telekinetically. Yeah.
Oh man. And maybe you would like. Maybe we're all both on it. Like I understand you. Like I get you. Like we're both on that,
just
right?
Like just the energy people give off. I feel like I'm very good at reading that. Like you can tell when people are being genuine, and when you can tell when people are being.
I feel like I'm good at that too, because like I think the biggest thing, and I think as a human being, the first thing you should always do is self-respect is everything. You could be a hot ass girl, and you could be like a 10 out of 10, and if you don't know how to talk to a human being, and you're not like, you don't even know like a normal conversation is like, I'm not talking to you. I'm not giving you no attention, right? Mm-hmm. That was my number one rule ever, and that has worked for me like amazingly, right? As a man, I think a lot of men are forgetting that, and they chase after these women, and I think they put them at this pedestal, like, oh my god,
yeah.
What if I said this? She would think about it like that.
See, that's
that kind of way of living is not for me, right? So that I already knew that.
That's a lot of like, I feel like young men who are feeling lost in life, who are feeling like emotionally insecure, who are feeling very lonely, right? I feel like you get to that point where you're like, oh, I really need to like worship this girl. And you know, when you love somebody, you end up worshiping them anyway.
And rightfully so, but there should be a balance of things.
And you should also do it at a point where I feel like, love makes you stupid, no matter what it is. No matter 100%. What age you're at, love makes you dumb.
Anger and love both make you fucking dumb as fuck. You do the most dumbest shit in love and anger.
Yeah, no, so it's one of those things. Like, I've always thought, like, I want to be in love when I can, like, when I'm okay with being an idiot. Like, when I have everything sorted out, and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to be just like a dumb. I'm allowed to be a dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to, prioritize somebody else over myself. And a lot of people starting that prioritization very early, right? In your early 20s, mid 20s, right? And you see people like that where it's like, okay, you're prioritizing somebody else, but you've never really had an opportunity to prioritize yourself. Mm. You've not made a career for yourself. You've not achieved that level of freedom, right? And then to lie to yourself and to lie to your partner that, oh, I can give you that prioritization. I can be that person for you.
It's not sustainable, man. How many years can you really do it for, right? Eventually it's gonna become toxic enough to like You hate each other.
Yeah, but some people just live in that hate. Like some people,
I
that's
could
all they
never
know.
do. That's why you gotta like find the real one that understands you in a way. And I think I found him at the right age because I was old enough to where I knew myself.
I feel like you're reaching that age now where you are capable of maintaining that type of relationship.
Because I'm at peace, bro. Like I feel, you know, when I told you like that the hype and the energy that I was in when I was single after a breakup, that's what I'm in, but with this girl.
Yeah,
that's
because she motivates you,
bro, in a great way. Like she lets me be me, like,
and gives you that space. That's
man,
so
like
important.
the biggest thing, right? As an artist, so I mean that's what it is.
As a person, not a fucking artist. This is a human thing.
Yeah, it's a human thing. You need to, and I give it that same thing. I'm like, you grow as a human being. Like I want you to be.
I think everyone deep down is an artist. I think I think
100%.
art is the definition of humanity. Right,
bro. You can make a hit. A random person can make a hit. It's a simulation, dog. Like one day you're feeling something, and that energy can convert into a banger.
Whether it's music, like even in the finance world, like in your corporate world, there's artists in that shit.
Yeah.
There's people who view like that corporate job as art, right? Like
they're good at it, right?
Yeah, who like live, breathe, like dude.
Or even tech. A lot of tech people that code, that is an art because you're creating something from scratch. And it's something, an output comes out of it, right?
That's the thing. Like, I feel like we're so quick to be like, you know, like an artist is someone who creates like art. Like, and what is art at that point? Like, I think mathematics is art. I think English is art. I think it's just a human experience. Like, think about this. This is the most like psychedelic experience on Earth, right? We're like commandeering like a flesh vessel, and we're going around, and like there's a bunch of other humans, right? Like the mind is such a complex thing.
Yeah.
Right, and it's one of those things. We're so lucky to be here right now. You don't, no matter what you do in life, what your walk is in life, you don't want to waste this opportunity.
Yeah. People don't realize they can die tomorrow. It's fucked up,
bro.
Right?
We could like in this moment drop dead.
And like people take that for granted, like the blessing of like living. And I think that's the kind of shit that I think about. I'm like, dude, like I want to do exactly what makes me happy, and I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna do it truly organically, and I'm not chasing for like, oh, you're doing this great. Like I'm not chasing for that. I'm not chasing for success or result. I'm just gonna do it
because it makes me me. It makes me.
But
happy.
I think when you do it like that, that's when you win, man. I feel like that's when you really win because the results will eventually come. Because I find you can be really successful at anything if you put your mind to it. It's everybody says that, but I feel like. If you really think about it, you're really committing to a problem for a very long time compared to another person's. For example, if you're making music, right? Why you're great at music is because you've spent fucking hours and hours for years on it to become that great. If I spend the same amount of hours now, I'll probably get to that point eventually, right? You can, or anything, you can become a painter right now if you spend like maybe 5 years of your time really studying the craft.
Exactly. It's all math. It's all art.
It's all whatever you want to be, whatever brings you happiness. But you just gotta spend time and you do it like there needs to be the 10,000 hours thing. That's very true, man. You can become a master
and I think
if you spend time on that and just stick to that problem. It's a problem you're solving. You're sticking to it for a long time.
And I think that's the message. Like when you find something that you're very passionate about, you owe it to yourself to go kill it. To go make your life about that passion. And you find it at whatever age, whether it be at your age, whether it be at my age, whether it be even later in life, right?
You know, KFC was made at 60. The person who made KFC was 60-year-old.
Yeah, and he had nothing going on for him except
60, bro.
Yeah,
that's fucking. Have you thought about running? You made the biggest food, like one of the biggest fast food chains at 60.
Walmart as well. Like God was.
Isn't that crazy? Like. I mean, ages...
And there's no time limit. That's the thing. There's no time limit.
It's all in our brains, man. This is how we think. Like, we're always... As a kid, you were like, at 25, I'll be this. You stop living... I think what really helped me kind of, like, calm down was, like, when I was like, I need to stop living with the expectation that I made for myself as a kid.
Yeah, because those expectations were also given to you. You know what I mean? There's people like... Dude, what do I know at 21? I truly feel like I'm brand new on this earth. Like it's the first time where I'm realizing it's like, okay, everything I was taught was kind of getting me prepared to experience life for the first time. Was at this time, right? And now it's like I'm going through life again like a kid because I'm open to every experience. I'm open to just as much as like I make music and I'm good at making music and I love doing it, I still think I know nothing about it.
And that's the beauty of it. Like you feel like you're good at something, but then you also suck at it at the same time.
Yes, like I know my passion.
What else can you really think about? Like, isn't that fucking weird though? Like, think about it.
Yeah.
You feel like you're good at it, you're a professional at it, but then at the same time, you feel like you're shit at it sometimes.
Yeah, it's like you like people like now, especially in this day and age of social media, right? Like everyone like quote unquote has their shit together, like on a screen, you know. But it's like nobody knows what they're doing.
Oh hell no! And that's why I feel like when you realize that everybody's just figuring it out. That's when you start just doing it.
Dude, people like in their I still look at like now I look at my mom and dad as humans. Like less as my mother and father. I look at them as people, right? Like people who've made their own mistakes in life, people who've gone through their own journeys in life, and you realize that, you know what, like these people who like had their shit together never once made me feel like they didn't have their things together. I'm like, they still to this day are figuring it out.
Dude, every chapter of your life you figuring it out, because like it switches up on you. The rule,
you might as well die, honestly. If you have all your shit figured out, it's fine.
It's boring.
Yeah, go to the next. Like figure it out in the next life.
Yeah, like, yeah, man. Honestly, isn't that crazy to think about? I mean, that shit fell down. this guy just fell down, bro. Yeah. Oh man, I didn't even notice that. But yeah, dude, that's fucking nuts. I'm tripping on that for a bit. What else is on your mind? Fuck. I mean, we almost talked about everything. Like, I can't even...
That's what's going on in my life.
Yeah, and it's... Oh, by the way, I wanted to say this to you when you were talking about the space you're in as an artist, that it is open to you right now. You're like, fucking scratch everything, starting something new. As an artist, I think it's a beautiful place to be. And I tell you, honestly, you know why? Because this means there's opportunity for something new to come, which I feel like you're ready for. I think you're gonna feel really happy and you're gonna be excited about it, but with a new mindset or like grind. Because you know how you talked about maybe I got everything in my lap, and now in your head like is it did I work hard for it, or was it just like I got it because I got it, right?
I'm telling you, I didn't.
Now it's like you will probably, when you get it again, when you find that like the new sound or what you really want to do, mentally you're gonna be going into like, yo, I want to grind. I don't give a fuck if I'm good at it or not.
I'm in this place where it's like, I did it. How many times can I make the same record again? You know, and like, what type of person would I be if I'm talking about Drake making the same sound for 15 years? I'm talking about X, Y, and Z making the same sound for 15 years. I'm talking about how boring music's gotten. And if I'm not at least trying, whether I fail or succeed is a separate story. But if I'm not at least trying to reach that, if I'm not trying to at least figure out a new way to make music sound, and there's nothing new, everything's been done before. Yeah. But if I'm not trying to innovate on that sound,
if you're not excited,
what's
you're an artist, dog. Like
that's the thing, and I haven't
been excited, overwhelmed with your fucking ideas. Like, yeah, and that's like, when you're lit.
And it's like it's fun to get like drunk with my friends and with my engineer and just like fucking drop some bars on something and then do a little bit of singing and all that. But it's not new, all right. Like I've all of my shit sounds like things that have come out before. I'll tell you that, and like I've been lucky enough where people like my take on it.
Like it's good music, but it's like it's not serving you as an artist inside.
That's exactly, and I'm trying to look for something holistic. I'm trying to get fed. I'm trying to feed my soul. Yeah. So it's just working on that.
That's interesting, man. That's crazy because I'm on a journey where it's like, and I'm sharing this with you because I've never talked about this openly, like in public. It's more like I would talk about it with my girl or with my friends, right? But I'm on this journey where I see an opportunity where I think I found what I really wanted to do all my life, which is make Punjabi music. But it just comes easy to me. I feel like because I made so much music before and I've recorded and stuff that I've never felt like this is something that I felt it was easy, where it's like it's coming out of me. It's like an experience where you feel like, am I really doing this or just is happening? Like it's magic, dog. Like it's like I feel like it's magic happening, right? Sometimes I'm like, oh my god, this is good. And I've never felt that as an artist before. I would always be like so critical of my work all the time. But I'm like, I'm good, but can I be excellent, right? Mm-hmm. This is the first time where I'm enjoying my process. I'm still being critical where like, okay, I'm like being so scientific with it. Like it's like, okay, phase 1, record, write as much as you can, demos, and then record, and then take it to the studio after you record demos. Like I'm being so strategic with it, right?
Yeah.
This is the first time because my mindset is like I want to do something like that's never been done in the industry before, and this is an interesting observation I've noticed in the Punjabi industry itself. It's where hip hop was before Kanye came in. It was all gangster rap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know when Kanye before, like, the Jesus Walk, like, he's trying to...
808s and Heartbreaks.
Yeah, like, he's trying to tell these people, this is hard shit, listen to it.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, where's that gangster shit, right? That's where Punjabi industry is right now. They're in the gangster phase, gangster hip-hop phase where it's like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm gonna fuck your bitch, I'm gonna shoot you, this and that, right?
I'm gonna drive my tractor around.
Yeah, right. So, I feel like there's that space where it could be kind of pivoted in a way that's like you can be vulnerable as a fucking Punjabi man. Like you can make music that in Punjabi that is not just about hyping it up or drinking or shooting or fighting or like love songs or heartbreaks. It could be other things too. And being vulnerable on it and
kind of abstract things.
Abstract and also more artsy. Like it's like I find like right now there's a template to Punjabi music. People just follow that template.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate that. And the sounds that are used are the same sounds that are always used, right? I want to change that. That's my end goal. I don't give a fuck if it succeeds or not. My goal is literally to change the sound of the industry in a way that's like, okay, like how Kanye came in hip hop and changed everything, and Drake was born and Lil Wayne was born, right? Everybody was born because of that. Because if they didn't do that, if Kanye didn't do that, Drake was not able to like be living, because like Drake cannot fucking gangster rap, bro. Like you know what I mean? It's like
and he tries.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's what I want to do for this. Like I want to make it easy. I'm not a gangster. Like I'm not gonna rap about being a gangster because I'm not that.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna make music that's like true to myself, but also I think Punjabi industry needs that, because there's a stereotype that's been built, and it's like I want to break that. It's like we're not just this.
Yeah.
I want to be more than that.
I feel that.
We're more than that, right? It's like that's what I want to do with that music. So it's like that's the mission that I'm on, and it's actually like it's insane that I see it so clearly now. Because at first I feel like I was blinded, like I didn't see clearly. I always knew what I wanted to do, like music was a big part of it, but I always like pushed it away.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I'm seeing it clearly.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
It's wonderful. You just owe it to yourself to go further
It's
and
crazy.
further down that.
And I can't, like, eventually when I record everything, I want to play some music for you, and you'll see, like, when you heard my old shit, and then you'll hear this, you're like, okay, I see what you do. Yeah. Like, I see what you mean. Like, I know you're gonna be like, yo, this is, I knew, like you're gonna be like, oh shit, I see what you meant by that. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. I get it.
No, and
I'm which is sick, right? Like, oh man, I'm excited, man. Like, this is the fastest I've ever written songs ever, bro. Like, and it's insane. Sometimes I'll be making them like, did I just finish this shit in like 5 minutes?
Is that a rap?
Did I just do it? And like, and then I show it to like people, and they're like, this is the hardest shit you've ever done. And like, I'm so melody focused now. Like, I don't even give a shit about like other shit. I'm like, okay, melody first, this and that. And I'm actually like studying it. You know, it's like, okay, is this in this rag? Is it like, in this like notation? Like everything. I'm like literally writing lyrics and then notations beside it. Yeah. It's like I'm like actually so like invested in it that I'm like, wow, like I never saw myself doing that a year ago.
Exactly.
Isn't that crazy? Like how life changes on you like out of nowhere, and like wait, like you can be in a whole different chapter out of nowhere. So like you just gotta let it happen. Right? That's what I'm thinking about.
No, you just gotta let it. You gotta just let it come out of you.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when you're in that phase right now, just let it happen to you, man. Like I feel like something big is gonna happen. I feel it, man.
Hopefully, like
something big.
About reaching that next step. Like I feel like I can sell out a show of like 200 people, and I can do that. It's about reaching the next step. I want to connect to even large audience, and that only happens when you're true to yourself, right? When people can listen to you and they feel like you're being honest. So for me, it's reaching that level of honesty with myself and my craft.
What do you think? Maybe do you want to go back and like kind of just pick up an instrument just to like learn something new? And
I play a lot of instruments. I can play the piano. I can play the guitar. My percussion's horrible, so I never really touched drums. I'm a very bad percussionist. But For me, it's just sharing stories that are real. Like sharing stories that are real to me, that have happened to me, and like ideally, when you do that, people can relate to it.
Damn.
What else is there to it? It's simple. True. That's the thing. Creating art is simple. Whatever you do, whether it's coding, whether it's painting, whether it's making music, right? It's deeper than me, and it's understanding that to make art, you got to just make something that comes from you. It has to ooze out of you, out of every single pore.
That's so fucking amazing to hear that from you, because like I feel like I feel that all the time, and then I question myself, like, yo, am I the only person who feels this way? Definitely. But then the more people that I talk to, more artists that I talk
everyone feels that way,
and they're like, yo, like, you're just an object that it comes out of. The minute you realize that,
you're a vessel.
Yeah, you're just a way of like it comes out. But if it happens through, if the minute you realize that, that's when you start, like, things start clicking for you. Because I feel like as an artist, like you said, there's a lot of ego there, right? Like, I think that comes from it because you think, this is what I made. Right?
Yeah, and you're putting yourself in a position to be judged.
Right, and like you suck so much, and then finally you see success, it gets you. And I get that, right? It's like, you know, it's almost like new money. When you broke as fuck and you get finally new money, you don't know how to fucking spend it.
No, what about the change?
Yeah. You go off, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like you, as an artist, you fucking hear no so many times. You're down bad so many times, and then you're just finally getting success. And you're like, I'm the fucking shit.
Yeah,
you go
up.
extreme, right? Like,
yeah.
But I think what you need to realize as any artist is like that it's just coming out of you, right?
You're just a vessel.
Yeah. And the minute you realize that, I think that's like maturing as an artist, and then that's
that's
a journey though. That's a journey.
Humility is key. It's like I feel like gone are the days of being like a diva and, you know, kind of like trying to command respect in that sort of way and throwing tantrums on set. People don't want to work with you, right? You have to be humble as an artist first and foremost. And you know, I say that, and I know I'm guilty of not having humility at all. Like when I was doing shows, when I'm on tour, I'm a completely different person, right? I am just oozing this like level of confidence that is not normally, that is not me. When I'm making the music, that is not me. But when I'm out there performing it, and when you're doing, you get caught up in that lifestyle of, you know, I want to buy that Cuban chain. I think like the worst thing I've ever done is buy a fully iced out Cuban chain. You know what I mean? It's like you spend $20,000 on a fucking chain, and then it's like, what do you do with this?
It's just there, and maybe you wear it 5 times and you're bored of it eventually.
It gets dirty, and like,
the
diamonds don't shine the same way. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like,
oh man,
you have to be a little more intrinsic when it comes to these things.
Okay. Fuck, I had a thought that I was gonna say to you. Yeah, you know, we talked about earlier that Toronto doesn't have a scene where people can showcase their talent.
Very collaborative scene, yeah.
An idea came to my mind. Maybe you're open to it. Maybe we can start something where we get people in a room, and everybody before their release gets to like showcase a single or two, perform in front of like people that love art, and love music, and or maybe artists themselves, and they come and they listen to it, and they give you like, they kind of like, it's almost like a networking, but it's also like you're giving someone a showcase, like a time to showcase, but it's their time, like a 1 minute, even if it's 1 minute of like performance, it's their 1 minute, and everybody like kind of just like, it's a community thing. I started this thing as a segment on my podcast where I let artists showcase their talent. It's called Pass the Mic. But I think it could be something bigger than that, where it's like we can really like highlight some artists and let them like kind of like have that through the podcast, where it's like a different segment, where it's just like a vlog of an artist that is like releasing something new, and like we kind of want everybody to listen to it. And now I'm down to kind of just like, for my listeners, not many, but I have like 190 followers on my Instagram that really like organically, that I grew, are really into what we do, and I'm really grateful for every single one of them.
The thing, like 190 people on Instagram might seem like a lot, but if you got 190 people in this room, you'd be overwhelmed.
Exactly. So what I mean is like just having the true organic fans or people that really care about art and creative energy come around and just kind of like start like a new thing, maybe, where you kind of are around that energy. Would you be down for that? Pass the mic, man. Like that'd be sick.
That sounds like
we
a
should do
plan.
that. Okay, so next time you release something, or maybe when I do something, I'll do that, and maybe I'll like because I tried that with some artists where I had Spitty. I don't know if you know Spitty. He's a rapper. Yeah. He came on as an artist on a podcast where he did a freestyle for us, and I kind of wanted people to see the talent that he had. Right, like you give him a word, he freestyles, which is cool as fuck. Like not a lot of people can do that. Like a lot of artists, freestyling is a whole different art of itself. Right, so it's like. So like stuff like that, I wanted people to see that like there's so much art in Toronto, and if you think about it, Justin Bieber, Weeknd, and Drake, that's probably like top 5 artists in the world right now.
Yeah.
And they're all coming from fucking Canada, and it's like
Canada. I mean, you look at like the output of like stars we have in Canada. I don't know what it's about, the water or like what's going on here. Like you look at it in martial arts, you have the greatest of all time, GSP from Montreal, right? Actors, you got Jim Carrey, right? We have the best of the best coming out of here. Like people who go out into the industry and conquer the world. Drake, Justin Bieber, Russell Peters. That's the thing. Like we have people who come from our land, and like for some reason it's just I don't know what it is, but we conquer. Once we're given that opportunity, we conquer.
Yeah, man. And I feel like obviously like it's a numbers game, but I feel like now that everything's digital, it doesn't matter.
Numbers don't matter unless you do millions of streams. Numbers don't matter.
Yeah, but yeah, that's on that note, I think that's a cool idea. We should definitely work on that together eventually. 100%. Have you ever thought about acting or something like that, or getting into that kind of scene, or
not
writing, really. Even writing for like a show or movies or anything like that?
Never much. I've written for a lot of other artists and I had a lot of fun doing that.
Like music only? Or?
Yeah, music only. I don't know. I've been very focused on. I know I was put on this earth to do music. I know I was made to make music. I enjoy it so much. That's the thing. Once I realized I love music. I love listening to it. I love consuming it. I love everything about it. I love the stories that come out of it. I love the people. I love the culture. And I've just been focused on that. That's all I love doing is music.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, if you ever get bored and you're in this phase where you want to try new things, just try writing something new. Maybe try a short film or something like that. Just try something.
I've always said like filmmaking is like my passion. Like music is like what I'm good at, but like I love filmmaking.
I find it very intriguing, dude. I'm trying to start this new project with a friend where it's a rom-com, and it's more of animation. Like it's like a cartoonish, like a character that I created. His name is Gugu, and he's living in downtown. So it's a Toronto-based fucking cartoon, and he's living downtown with his boy. It's like a story of like a young dude who just graduated, who's living in like in downtown, and anything that like goes with that, and they prank people around them.
That's the thing. Like growing up, I've been so lucky to be surrounded by like fantastic people. I mentioned so many people in this thing, but like filmmaking wise, like shout out Taylor Winter King. Like that dude is doing it correct. Like he is one of those dudes who as well showed me that like once you have passion and you love what you do, you owe it to yourself to start it. And he is in terms of filmmaking, I've never got the chance to work with him, but in terms of just his visual interpretation, the way he uses cameras, the way he uses lighting, you can tell it's passion, right? So it's one of those things where you have a passion for it, do it. It doesn't matter.
Damn. Yeah, man. I think I'm leading to that too. Like I feel like I want to do everything in life. I'm a weird person, dude. I feel like I'm so weird. Like I get bored of shit so quickly that I'm like, okay, I want to do a podcast. I'll do a podcast. I'll do music. Music's obviously been the consistent thing where I just do it for myself. But then I'm like, I kind of want to write like stories, because I'm really good at like I'm a very imaginative person where I just think about shit and I write it down. I at one point wanted to do stand-up comedy, which is fucking dumb. Like I was like writing jokes in COVID. Like I was trying everything. I think you need to try everything in life before you go, because you never know what you're really made for, man.
Exactly.
Unless you try it, right?
Exactly.
Is there anything else you ever tried other than music before? Want to give it a chance? Do you want to give anything a chance? I feel like you'd be a sick director. I think you have a very imaginative mind. Like you think, because you experiment with music too. I feel like you should try at least writing something.
I do that with my own videos. You know, that's part of the reason why like I was very upset when that guy didn't send me the video, because it's one of those things. Like I try with myself. Like that's the thing. Music is one part of it, but then there's a visual aid to music that I really respect. Yeah. So like I would like filmmaking truly is one of my passions. The way I get that I made some like film. This is through my videos. So I put a lot of effort into those. So it's in terms of like, but it's everything to complement the music. Music is like completely my passion. It's completely my goal, and I'm completely focused on being an artist. And through that, I get the opportunity to direct my own videos. I get the opportunity to storyboard my own shit, and I get the opportunity to work with fantastic creatives, and I get the opportunity to like put some money in their pockets. That's my thing. It's like I never want work for free, right? Like I never perform for free. Right? I never want to ask someone to do something, and I think a lot of people are like that, where they're like, "Oh, I want the video done for me for free, and I want."
Or like beats. I think that's the biggest thing.
Oh, beats.
Producers. I feel so bad for them, dude. They give out so many free beats just to make connections and stuff, and I think it's horrible. They should never. Even if you get $50,
those guys are the crux of the songs.
It's fucked up. Some songs have only made it big because of the production. Isn't that the?
Yeah.
I think producers deserve more money and love
and recognition.
And
so, I just recently bought a gramophone. It's a 120-year-old Columbia gramophone, right? It's like Columbia Records used to be a record, like it's a record company. It's called Columbia Records. So I just bought a 120-year-old gramophone. I saw it at a estate sale, and I was like, I need to go take it home. Let's go whatever the price is, take it home. And you see it there. It says, very small writing, who the singer is, and then it says orchestrated by, produced by, and it's on the record. It's right there. You know what I mean? That love for producers is gone. That respect for producers is
especially,
gone.
I feel like I find that in hip hop, it's gone a lot.
Oh yeah, because it's all the artist name. It's all the artist name.
A lot of the songs are just beats that made the artist.
Yeah, because you can say whatever you want on top of those beats, but some beats are just mesmerizing.
Yeah, I definitely. On that note, I think the producers definitely need more recognition.
Pay your producers.
Yeah, man.
Pay your producers.
Pay your producers, because like, if you're not paying your producers, I think you're doing wrong.
Because you have no song without them.
Yeah, and you're not being true to yourself, man. Like, I think if you're doing your producers wrong, you're not being true to yourself as an artist.
100% wrong.
Well, on that note, I think we should conclude, or do you want to keep talking? I mean, if you keep talking,
I'm good to conclude. I don't know what else I could talk about.
I know we're kind of like just talking about everything.
Everything, yeah. Relationships, music, life.
I really think we should travel together, because I feel like we'll be fucking just in this mode where we're just like having deep talks, and maybe something cool can come out of it. I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. Anytime you're ready to.
Are you down to travel soon? I know you went to India recently.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah. It was good. I got to experience a lot. I actually met with my honest thought when I was down there.
Nice.
I was doing the harmonium and stuff. I think the Asian culture and music is just one of those things where it's so deeply embedded into life, and like, a lot of people don't recognize that music, that art is like that's all that culture is about.
Did you get to like I guess practice a lot down there with him, or?
A lot. That was my main reason for going.
Ever since I've switched to like the Indian, like the Asian, like a way of on harmonium and stuff instead of piano. There's like this new sound that I see, like that's not even on the piano. Like it's so different.
It's a different instrument.
It's so different, man. Like the sare gama, like whatever, that whole thing is so different. It's a whole different way of singing. Mm-hmm. And once you train yourself to like learn all that, you can do both in a way.
Yeah. So like I initially learned like a Western style of traditional singing, which was. Done by Ian Garrett, and Ian Garrett's a heavy hitter. He taught Shania Twain, he taught Tina Turner, all those people, and I was lucky where like growing up, that's how I learned how to sing. It's very diaphragm focused, right? Like you're singing from your stomach. Yeah. And then when you go into that Asian style of singing, it's very throat focused.
And then chest.
It's all chest. You're using different cavities.
Yeah.
Right. So and using your mouth, using the cavities in your mouth, and using cavities in your head. It's one of those things where it's a completely different world of singing, and you merge those two together. It's beautiful. And you see like that. The Beatles did it. Adam Levine did it. It's one of those things where it's like all the greatest of the greats. Freddie Mercury did it.
They learned the both styles?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You pay homage.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you listen to the Beatles, like, the sitars in, like, every single one of their songs, right?
That is true.
They travel to India all the time, right? And then you listen to Freddie Mercury, right? Freddie Mercury was a classically trained, like, Indian singer.
No way.
Yeah, he sang.
That's incredible.
Yes, and The same thing with a lot of Adam Levine spent like many years in India learning how to sing the Sare Gama Pas. He's a traditionally
What?
Yeah, Adam Levine from Maroon 5. His whole singing style is based in traditional.
I didn't fucking know that, dude.
Yeah, even the Jonas Brothers. Like you listen to their old shit, you listen to the new shit, especially Nick Jonas ever since he married Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
Right? You listen, like they're singing in a completely different way. Their voices have improved. It's wonderful. There is no culture that is not embedded in music, that is not embedded in art. Anything that has been remembered is because of their art.
Damn.
And that's why I think I'm so gravitated to art, because you want to be remembered when you're gone. And what's the best way to do that? What's the best way to leave an impact is by leaving people
with
art.
Something. Yeah. You live forever through that, right? That's crazy. To that. Cheers, and thanks for being here, and this is a great episode.
Thank you.
Peace and
for
love.
having me. Peace and love, for sure.